Welcome in and thanks for joining today's Stream Elements. Welcome in and thanks for joining today Clarkio. Welcome in and thanks for joining today Rugmatbot. Welcome in and thanks for joining today Clarkio. Welcome in and thanks for joining today Frankfurt. Welcome in and thanks for joining today SMC_May_I.
Oh yeah, here we go.
The ad is starting now and will go for 180 seconds. Welcome in and thanks for joining today SMC Mai. Welcome in and thanks for joining today Department.
anything's for me and mom. I got your back, just take things slow. I'll bring everyone to show that I want your heart and more in my own life. I'll tell everyone there's no stopping us. Can I have you for
Welcome in and thanks for joining today workout 2020.
All right. Let's get started, huh? What's this guy doing over here? He starts a stream and then he just sits there in the starting soon for 15 minutes? The heck? All right, let's do the intro and then I'll say hello to everybody. Okay. That's what we're gonna do. Dance time. Boom, 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 boom.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today Trin 565.
Matrix, yeah, Deep Harvin. Awkward stairs.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today Rugmat.
Trin, you've never seen this before, I don't think. All right, claps in chat. Come on. Woo! All right. All right. Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy to have you here. It's the Clarkio Shenanigans Show. Every Friday, right here on twitch.tv/ClarkIO and youtube.com/ClarkIO. Glad to have you here. I'm your host, Clarkio. Good to see you all. Thank you for being here. We have some new intro viewers. Early bird gets the worm. Trin, happy to have you here. I'm so glad that you found it to be funny. That's the intention with the opening of my stream there. Make a fool of myself, and that just you sharing that this is the best thing ever and that you're laughing your effing hiney off just made my day, made my stream. Thank you for that. Almost missed the dance. Rugmat, how dare you? You're always here for the dance, Rugmat. I'm glad you're clapping, Trent. Thank you. That rich. I'm not kidding though. That made my day. That put a smile on my face seeing you get a kick out of that. Like that's what I'm going for. I'm here to entertain. May, thank you for being on YouTube over there. Let's do the usual. If you're new or a frequent flyer here, you already know this, but if you're new, this is what we have in store for today. We start off just chatting, talking about wins of the week. If you don't know what that is, exclamation point WOTW in the chat to understand more about that. Didn't mean to rhyme that, but that worked out great. Then we get into Wordle, where it's a competition. You don't want me to win. I'll explain more when we get into that segment of the show. And Connections, which we'll play together. We can help each other out if you haven't played Connections for today yet. And then we get into the technical.
Thanks for joining today, Bernard.
Bernard, thank you for doing that command. And then we get into the technical portion of the show where I work on something programming wise. And we are continuing on the project, the Words on Stream Plus tool. I've called it so many different names: Words on Stream Helper, Words on Stream Assist. I've landed on Words on Stream Plus because that's what we do. Disney Plus, HBO Plus, I think it was at one time. Max now. I don't know. Anyway, I kid, but you get the idea. So we landed on that name. It is a tool to help enhance the experience while playing Words on Stream, which is a common streaming game where you take words, you take letters and make words out of them. You get points and you get up to the new levels with everybody in the chat that's participating. You work as a team. It's fun. I love that game. And that's what drove me to want to build this tool out to help with playing that game for whether you're new or a veteran player that's really skilled at the game. Okay, so that's what we have in store. If any or all of that interests you, I hope you stick around. If not, totally understand. Use your time wisely. Don't waste it on me then if that doesn't interest you. And I hope you have a good rest of your Friday and weekend. Maybe I'll see you in the future stream. Bernard says, I work at the company that made the Words on Stream as a developer. Get out of here. Bernard, have you seen... I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for being here. That's freaking awesome. And have you seen the tool I built by chance? I can't wait to show you. You can get a quick glimpse at it right now. If you go to... I mean, I'm going to make a whole separate thing for this, but if you want to see... I'm so pumped that you're here. Not yet. Show me. Yes. All right. I'm gonna get. Sorry, chat. We're gonna derail a moment here because we have a developer from Words on Stream here, and I gotta like that's freaking amazing. Yes. So maybe I can start helping contribute to your project. Like, I know you all don't do it open source or anything like that, but let me show you. The reason I bring that up is like, as a player of it, basically what I built was things that the community was looking for, or we were looking for on my stream. Yes, thank you, Trin. And lots of the folks you see in here, Bernard, by the way, are avid fans. Like, we all love the game you built. So first and foremost, like, big props to you and your team for building out such a fun game to play on stream with people. So super excited that you're here, that you have the time to tune into the stream, and we can basically give you a lot of props and praise for the awesome stuff that you did. And I'm curious to get your input on what I built. Okay, so feel free, be honest with me if you're like, if it's not a good thing or not, or I don't know, like, because I've gotten varying feedback from people that are like Words on Stream purists, whereas I'm more like casual about it. But anyway, let me show you. All right, so right now, oh, that's not the right button. That's the right button. Props and praise, and maybe pick his brain. Yeah. So this is it. We embed the Words on Stream board. So this is attached to another friend in the community, Dylan here, Dylan R. Carp, who does the 24/7 Words on Stream channel, and has been giving me tons of feedback on this tool that helps enhance it. So the idea is, and I know I saw in the Words on Stream Discord that you all have gotten this feedback before, and I just assume you all just have not had the capacity to work on this, but being able to see missed words is like a huge thing that people have wanted. And so I added that. Well, let me back up. All right, so we put the board up there. I have the Twitch chat in here. I have on the top portion of the screen what level we're currently on. The channel itself, the all-time best record is shown up here, and then for the day, the current record, the highest level that they reached on that channel, is up there. That's the second number. Okay, Then the bottom one. Now this is where people might get a little bit. Yeah, you got overlays on overlays. Oh, right. Let me fix that. Thank you. All right, turn that off. Okay. Then on the bottom right-hand corner here, we have the letters. Now, this is where people might get a little bit iffy about this, but it's a static version of, well, it just changed on us. It's a static version of the rotating letters from the Words on Stream board. So, but I can easily turn that off if we think that's not cool. However, the hidden letters and fake letters, this is where, like, for newbies to the game, it really helps out, especially because they don't understand that's happening necessarily. It's not always apparent to them. So what I do here is once those are determined by the players of that level, it shows that it uses some logic. I forget how I put the logic in place to figure out that, like, hey, we determined, well, usually when the big word is guessed like this, then we know what all the letters are and we know what was hidden and what was fake. So that's when it populates. What's up, Nightbot? That's when it populates. Rugmat, no. We're not playing on Dylan's stream right now. I don't have it. I don't have the stream together set up right now. So that's when these populate. And then I keep track of, like, how many times on this channel that the board was cleared, meaning they got every word on the board for that level. All right. So that's another added feature. But one of the biggest features that people are really excited about is really the missing words that only shows up at the end of the round. So I really am trying to balance a fine line here, Bernard, where I don't want to take away from the challenge of the game in the sense of people need to make words out of these letters. But at the end of a round, when you do not clear the board, I personally want to get educated on words that maybe I didn't know of before in the English language, or maybe there's words that I should have known that I missed, right? And that's where these, as we can see here, level 2 just finished on Dylan's stream. We see here that I show in the red with the little asterisk, those were the words that were potential words that were missed. And the reason they're potential is because I'm using a mix of, well, really, I've been running the tool against the game to figure out what correct, every time somebody guesses a correct word, it adds it to a dictionary for me. And then I store that, and that's like my Words on Stream dictionary, because I know you all, have that, it's like a limited word dictionary that you use. You don't use the full English language of words. So that's my way of kind of dealing with that situation so that I can provide these potential missed words, right? And I say potential because it's not always necessarily accurate. Different boards have different words that are allowed on it or not on it. I've noticed as well in building out this tool. So that's it, Bernard. That's essentially it. And I've just been enhancing this, working on, really lately, the biggest thing I've been working on is trying to get the layout and like styling done, because there's two different users basically right now of this. It's streamers like Dylan, which if we tune into Dylan's stream really quick, you'll see how he's using this. He applies a little bit of a little bit of his own CSS over the top of my tool to give this layout here, as you can see. So this is like, he's using the streamer view. Okay. And then I have a player view where, oops, that's not what I wanted. Where is it? Right here. This is the streamer view I'm showing right now, but then there's a player view that, is basically the same thing I need that to, like, the streamer view is static in the sense of the resolution, because I set it up to where it'd be 1080p for streamers to, get their canvas just right in OBS or whatever streaming software they're using with this tool. And then for the player view, they might have more dynamic, they're playing in their browser, and they need to be able to resize things a bit better. And that's where things get a little bit weird, because I built out all these components to be fitting for the static resolution versus dynamic. So I need to make it more reactive and responsive. But in any case, that is it in a nutshell, Bernard. And if you're still there and listening and tuning in, what are your thoughts? What's your feedback? I'm curious to hear. So in any case, while we're waiting to hear from Bernard, let me get back into the usual flow of things with the stream. This is freaking awesome. Again, glad to have you here, Bernard, and thank you for tuning in and just saying hi even. So there's all that. All right, back to the intro. Back to the opening. Props and praise, maybe pick his brain. Yes, May. May was saying we love words on stream. Trent says yes, show off, Clark. Yeah, thank you. May says this will be awesome. Words on stream. Yes, we get back into the wins of the week here. Trin says, seriously had me giggling like crazy. The best. I'm glad to hear that, Trin, about the intro there. That's awesome. Almost missed the dance. I'm glad you didn't though, Rugmat. All right, so yeah, get your wins of the week queued up. Again, if you don't know what that is, exclamation point WOTW. You don't. It doesn't need to be anything big. It could be small. Like you know, the one I go to as a good example is, I'm blanking. My mind's racing on so many things. I'm scatterbrained today, chat. But this, like, a win to me is like, I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and if I had a PB&J sandwich today, then that would be a win for me. So it could be a small little thing like that. The idea is getting your brain exercise and thinking about something positive that happened, and not dwelling so much on the negative. Not being ignorant of the negative and acting like it doesn't exist, but just don't get hung up on it as much and try to break that cycle of spinning on the negative and instead spin on the positive, right? So there you have it. My win of the week, it's a little bit tough because I got my oldest kiddo is sick on Halloween, which is really a bummer for her. Like, she's the prime age for really enjoying Halloween and all that, but we're going to make the best of it. We're going to try just, you know, keeping her happy. And I think what we're going to do is, like, for the bedrooms in the house, we're going to pretend that those are houses and, like, set up different candy bowls and stuff like that, and then me and my wife will be behind each door and open it and say trick or treat, you know, like try to give her the full experience to make it still a memorable day for her, without, you know, her going out and about. She, unfortunately, we went to the doctor this morning. She had a fever last night and then overnight too, and into this morning, so we're like, all right, let's get to the doctor. She got tested and she has flu, so we're really bummed about that. I'm bummed for her. It's one of those things as a parent where you wish you could just take the sickness away and you have it instead of them, so that they can just go about their business. But it's life. So you heard that clear? That's also another thing, Bernard. When somebody clears the board, it's me yelling clear. I need to make that optional though, because not everybody wants that. So yeah, but win of the week, you know, normally I say everybody's happy and healthy, but everybody's happy, but not necessarily healthy because my oldest is sick. Outside of that, I mean, things have been good though. Work's been going good. Family stuff, I love being in the usual routine. I did good at golf on Monday night for our golf league stuff that I've shared with you all before. So that's another win. Those are a couple things that are just coming off the top of my mind. I'm excited about next week's video for work. Speaking of, shout out to my company, SNYK, Sneak. SNYK.io, developer security company. I make the YouTube videos there, among other things, but that's like a big part of what I do. And this week's video I'm really excited about. I switched it up a bit, and instead of me like evaluating AI for code generation or that sort of thing, I did like a deep dive into my workflow and how I use OpenAI's Codex. And so it ended up getting so long that we're breaking it up into 2 videos. So part 1 and part 2, I'm hoping that the editing will be done in time, will be out on Monday. So you can take a look, you know, look forward to that if you're interested in seeing my workflow as a developer using agentic AI coding tools, in this case, OpenAI's Codex. That's another win. I'm really looking forward to that. It's like a little bit of an experiment trying to drop 2 videos at once, but we'll see how it goes. All right, May, I see you have a win of the week. Made it on the TV for the game last Sunday and on the big screen in the stadium. No way, May, that's awesome. Met a couple of the legend football players. What? That's awesome, May. Congrats on that, and thank you for sharing. That's super cool. Which players did you get to meet, if you don't mind sharing? Going back to the work thing, just full disclosure on that. Not sponsored, not endorsed, or like all this. What you hear from me is from me only, on behalf of myself and not on behalf of my company. But a big shout out to my leadership that affords me the time on Friday afternoons to be able to stream like this on my channel. All right. Bernard got back. I thought it was great. The fact that you only show the possible words at the end of the round is a cool idea too. Okay, cool. I'm glad to hear that, Bernard, because it is something that we've been, like I said, there's some people that are not, there's some people that have been playing words on stream way longer than me. And so like, I feel, like at least from my perspective, I don't know. I've been playing long enough now where I feel like I'm kind of a veteran. I'm not as good as some of the other players in the community, but community-wise, I'm still kind of new, I would say, to the Words on Stream community. And some of the folks that have been streaming Words on Stream like solely, are heavily focused on it. That I kind of describe them as purists, are not a fan of the tool for one reason or another. So that's why I'm really curious to hear your thoughts and input as, you know, one of the people behind the game. So there is that. So it's really helpful getting your feedback and input. You also said, I'll talk to the team about your project. I'll get back to you soon. Deal? Yeah, that sounds great. Right now, I'm planning on making it to where it has its own website, so it's not attached to me specifically. So right now you can check it out at, I'll share it with you really quick in case that makes it easier. And it is open source. Like, I'm trying to do everything client side. There are some things I want to add as a chat bot that are common patterns that the community follows, that I've learned, that I'm trying to do as a separate tool. Well, like separate, but joined together. In any case, this is where you can go. You go to clarkio.com/WoS assist. Again, I'm working on the name to be WoS Plus instead. Or whatever you all feel is appropriate. And in any case, you can go to the website, and then there's launch the tool, player view or streamer view. And then it kind of describes what it does and all that. So basically what I'm looking to do is enhance the experience on top of the already existing awesome experience that I've gotten as feedback, or one that I've felt that I wanted as a player, and like when I would host it on my stream myself, and in hearing from the community and like seeing some of the things that I've seen other folks share, like in your Discord or other Discords that are focused around this game. Is kind of where I've been working on and iterating on. It's been a very slow process because I, for the most part, only work on it on Friday afternoons like this on stream, sometimes on nights and weekends between streams. But, you know, my time is quite limited with my full-time job, family and kids and that type of thing. So, you know, slowly iterating on this. Like just last week, I got this part of like this landing page together because I've just been working on the tool itself, which is here. But yeah, so I think it would be cool. Like basically this missing words thing, like, again, I don't know what you all have capacity wise or where, you know, and I totally understand that like you all as a company have different vision in mind of where you want to take. You have a bunch of other games too, and maybe this isn't like the sole focus anymore. So I get that. But I'd tell you one of the biggest features I think you all could add is at the end of the round, just flip those empty slots over that we missed and show us in red or whatever your designer deems to be perfect. I would love to see that built into the game itself and not have it used in my tool at all. Like that would be a huge update to the game, in my opinion. May says pick in Discord of the football players there in the middle. Okay, cool. Brian Cushing and ND Kalu. Oh, that's freaking awesome. So yeah, Bernard, that's everything with that. In terms of the other tool that I was thinking about building out was a chat bot that, being that I was hosting it, I would have people subscribe to. But again, if that's something that you all take over, then fine. Like, I'm not looking to do this necessarily to make money, but I was doing it to like, in order to help self-operate the cost of running a chat bot that would support words on stream for streamers that want to run words on stream with their community. I started working on that separately, but I put that on the back burner for now because I was trying to get the UI side of things cleaned up and like really solid before continuing to jump into that as well. So Any case, hit me up on Discord or whatever is best. I'm very open and eager to help you all out, collaborate, provide input, contribute if you'd like, because I really enjoy the game and I want to see it keep growing and getting better. So that's my motivation with it, and hope it helps. And looking forward to hearing more from you. Oh, I was thinking this was our chat. This is Dylan's chat right here. My bad. I got distracted there for a second. All right. So we did wins of the week. Any other wins of the week from folks in the chat? Frackberg, good to see you. Haven't had sick on Halloween, but have had a couple sick on Christmas, which was, oh man, that's a bummer too. Yeah. Trent says, quick question. Your side of things shows the words we missed, but I don't see that on Dylan's stream at the moment. That is kind of odd. Why is that? Maybe Dylan did something to turn that off? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, Trin. I don't know if Dylan did anything to like hide the missing words or not. He might have. Maybe that helps because, like, you know, he's applied separate styling on top of the existing styling that I had so that it can fit his stream layout better. So maybe he did add something on there to do that and remove that. I'm not sure. So we'll see. We'll see what he says. Yeah, May says reported that to Dylan's Discord. Sorry, I was getting a message there. Where did we leave off? I'm so pumped and excited, and so I'm like kind of thrown off my game a little bit there. And did we finish up wins of the week? Everybody got their wins in? No pressure, but if you have, or even if you think of ones, you know, later on in the stream, that's cool too. Just let me know. And we'll celebrate that. Back to regular programming. Yeah. Speaking of, let me double check work here. See some messages coming through. That's not related to me. And what else we got? Oh, I got part 2 video to. Okay, so the editing was done. All right, so after stream, I got to cut stream a little bit early, probably 1 because the kid at home is sick today, but 2, I got to catch up on this work to review this video edit before we publish on Monday. What else is going on? I'm trying to think of any other wins that I might have to share with you all. If not, we can just jump into Wordle and connections next. And then we'll get into the technical segment of working on the words on stream tool. I think that's about it. I'm trying to think what happened with between last stream and this stream. That's the other aspect of it, because like there's other things that are going on, but I don't remember what I've shared with you all previously or not. All right, if I think of anything, I'll share it as well. In any case, let's move into Wordle now. Now again, I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the stream when I was describing the flow of things. If you're new here, the segments that we have, we start off just chat and wins of the week, then we get to Wordle and connections, and then the technical portion of the show. So now we're getting into Wordle. And as I mentioned earlier, you all don't want me to win this. You want me to lose, actually. Although you have a commanding lead on me. The way it works is if I guess it in 3 or less guesses, I get a point. If it takes me 3 to 6 guesses, you all get a point. And if I fail completely, you get 3 points. Okay? If you're not familiar with Wordle, you got to guess a 5-letter word. There's a new word every day, and the least amount of guesses, the better. All right, and I always start off with chart. Ooh, that's a good starting word today. I'm gonna go with arch. No. No, A is in the same spot there. Baron? Argon. I'm going with that. No, there's no H though. Paran. It's like chair. Chair. Who remembers chair? Could be Harry. I'm gonna go with that. Oh, why did I go with that? Oh, such a dumb guess. Oh, such a dumb guess because the R is in the same position. Oh. Well, that's good. It's good that I at least moved the H and the A. So maybe it either starts with R. Rash. But I need an E or H. Crash? There's no S. Crack? Cratch? Crotch? Cratch? No, A can't go there. What am I doing? If A doesn't go in the first, it's gotta be like there. Maybe it ends in N. Where's the H go in this? I should be able to get this. What am I doing? Cheer? Cheer? That's not how you spell cheer. It's like that. Chia. Chat from Bernard really got you flustered. Yeah. Yeah, that totally threw me off. That's freaking awesome. Like my I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say like adrenaline necessarily, but like having someone from Words on stream pop in, that's exciting. In a good way. Yeah. Oh, I should have guessed like charm. No. What is it, chat? I must start with maybe I might have been on the right track with this arch. That's not a word though. Archie. That's not a word. Okay, good. Acre? Acher? 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 Oh, man. Okay. Well, chat, you're getting a point again. What the heck is this word? Adhere. That would have been a good guess. Adhere. No, it wouldn't have been a good guess. What is this? I'm not seeing the word. My brain. I'm blanking. It's not C. What else? A boar. Yep. Boar. Got it. Dang it. That was a tough one. All right, we're gonna share that in the Discord. Oh. If you're not already in there, if you enjoy playing Wordle. Oh, it's freaking awesome, May. I see your picture now. That's so cool you got to meet them. Clear. Where is it? We have a Wordle channel under Game Fun if you'd like to participate and share your results in there. I always hide my... Oops. Pressing the wrong buttons. I always hide my results because people know what my starting word is. And then I have a bot that I built there that keeps track of your results and stores them in a database. And I have a leaderboard up on clarkio.com/Wordle. If you'd like to participate in that and get your stats shown here so you can keep track of it, you can choose to opt in the Discord, ! Opt in into here, and the bot will enable you. And you can always opt out too if you want. The command for that is ! Opt out. If you'd like to join in on the Discord and do that kind of stuff, ! Discord in the Twitch chat, and you'll get the link there, or go to clarkio.com/Discord for the link. There you have it. All right, now it's time for connections. Flashbang. Oh, no. Don't forget this. Wait, what is this connection? It's a spooky connection today. I forgot to update this. Chat, I almost missed this again. All right, we've been keeping track. We're updating. What's today? October 31st. Spooky ween. What the heck? Press the wrong button. I'm fumbling on my keyboard here. Spooky ween. All right. Lifetime, you have 58 now and 33 for this year. Well done, chat. Well done. You have I haven't even hit double digits yet. That many streams now. Yeah, pictures? What the heck are these pictures doing here?
SMC_May_I wants you to hydrate.
You know, May. It's funny you say that. I don't have my water cup here. I forgot it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Let's finish this connection somehow, which is pictures. I've never seen this before. And then I'll hydrate, May. Thank you for your concern though with that. All right, what do we think here? This looks like Pac-Man stuff, but there's nothing else that I see that goes with that. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So like forage, the beds, the bear. Maybe she wears a bow. Does that go with Goldilocks and the Three Bears? Maybe. I'm gonna send it. Oh, one away. What else could go with Goldilocks and the Three Bears? This forge is too hot. This bed is too firm. You know, like, right? I feel like I was on the right track there. Oh, the chair. Probably the chair. Yes, Goldilocks. Okay, I was right. Food bowl, pumpkin, cherry, can of spinach. What's up, Slugger? Good to see you. Pumpkin, heel, wand, mouse. Pumpkin, heel, wand, mouse. Yes, Cinderella. Yep, I'm with you on that one. Good catch. Good catch. All right, we got the two easier ones done. Now we got blue and purple left categories. Popeye the Sailor Man. Boom. Yes. All right, what do we think this last one is? That's Pac-Man. What does the bow have to do with Pac-Man, though? I know there's like the cherry is like a power-up thing or extra score than normal bits that you bite. Oh, Miss Pac-Man is the bow. Okay. All right, that was a fun one today. Hey, I like that connections, New York Times editor. That was not bad. I thought I was going to be a little bit more upset with the pictures. I'm going to share those results in the connections channel as well and mention that chat helped. All right, chat. I'm going to take a quick break to go get my water. So bear with me. And then when I come back, we'll jump into working on Words on Stream Plus, WoS Plus tool. All right. Let's get into it. All right, I'll be right back. You want me to stretch too? All right, how about we stretch when I get back after I get... Yeah, okay, sounds good, Rugmat. Thanks. All right, I'm going to throw the BRB scene up, and when I get back, we'll jump into all that. All right? Give me like 2 minutes.
Do it! Just
The ad
do
is
it!
starting now and will go for
Yesterday,
180
tomorrow.
seconds.
So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Nothing is impossible. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can! Clear!
All right, I'm back, chat. Went and checked on the kiddo and Mrs. Clarkio. I got some more coffee. I got water this time too, so I can hydrate, and half a donut. Lovely, lovely. And that's a win right there. Also, another win I thought of. The weather is so nice, which is, it's like a win, but also like not a win a little bit, in the sense of like, because it's a bummer that the kiddo's sick and not like, this is gonna be like one of the first Halloweens where it's not like sweating like hot for us here. So anywho, here's hydrating. Thank you, May, for redeeming that. Okay, we got that done. Now we got to stretch. Head on over to the gym here. The weather is a big one in the week. Windows are open and the AC is exactly slugger. That's that. I like that. I like that a lot. Electric bill going down. All right. The usual stretch, folks. In case you have not been here, though, we're going to have our arms out parallel to the floor. Pull them back behind your chest a little bit, and then you're going to want to make a thumbs up. Okay, like that. Fingers clasped into the palm, thumbs up, and then with your arms pulled back parallel to the floor still, you're gonna rotate them down. Okay, together, both sides. Feel the burn. Yeah. Oh, it's been a while since I've done this actually. All right, shake it out, shake it out. All right, the next one we're gonna do is carpal tunnel. Again, in case you don't remember or you're new here, we learned these stretches from Alison Krug many years ago, back in a previous job, where she presented this to like a whole conference of people. It was awesome. All right, we're gonna push our hands towards each other, but back to back, and bend at the wrist. This is good for carpal tunnel. Hold that for a few seconds.
Thank you for the 3 long months of subscribing, Dylan Carp.
All right, shake that out. Shake that out. Dylan, thank you, buddy, for the 3 months resub. Appreciate that support. You know you don't have to do that, but thank you. He says, oh, hey there, Mr. Clarkio. Also, Dylan, we had a developer. I don't know if he might still be lurking potentially or not. A developer from the folks behind Words on Stream popped into the stream. How cool is that? I showed him the tool and everything, and then he said, what did he say again? He said he thought the tool was great. The fact that you only show the possible words at the end of the round is a cool idea too. And then he said, I'll talk to the team about your project. I'll get back to you soon. So that's exciting, right? Yes, thank you, May. You remembered. May, I can always count on May to be keeping track of things for anything I forget. So thank you, May, for always doing that too. That's super cool. Awesome. Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe because I had mentioned to him that like one of the biggest features we like and want is getting the missed words added onto the board itself. Like, how cool would that be? Right? I think that'd be awesome to see that show up in there. And I offered, I was like, if there's any way I can contribute or like help out, you know, let me know. I'm happy to do so, type of thing. So we'll see what comes of it. But I'm gonna start working on the tool now, actually, Dylan, as well. So perfect timing. Maybe we'll do the stream together. Join the streams. If you're interested in doing that again. If not, no worries. No pressure. But that way we can see the tool in action and all that jazz. You know what I mean? Let me get set up here too. There's been a lot of, speaking of just coding and stuff like that, there's been a lot of news in the AI. Like there's GitHub Universe for folks that aren't necessarily familiar with the technology space or keeping up with these things. At GitHub Universe is a big conference by GitHub, the folks that are behind a lot of the tools that you see me working on. And it's owned by Microsoft. And they announce a bunch of stuff around agentic coding, agent tools, built into VS Code. And what else? And just managing all the different agents that you can spin off of on your project, whether it's via the cloud, GitHub Copilot Cloud Agent, Copilot CLI, and I think at some point they'll probably add the capabilities of managing and controlling other agentic coding tools like Claude Code from Anthropic or OpenAI's Codex. I think that actually already is supported to some degree. I thought I saw that somewhere. So there was that was going on. Cursor announced 2.0. Cursor is the IDE, like the competitor, if you will, of VS Code. They announced a bunch of similar stuff going on there. May says, since the Sneak Conf, I am now getting emails from Sneak. If you don't like that, there should definitely be an unsubscribe option, May. If you don't like that, that's totally understandable. Personally, I'm not a fan of that type of stuff, but that's what all companies do. Not to say that that's okay necessarily or a good thing, but like you didn't choose that. But actually, I guess you kind of did in a sense. Like if you sign up for things at any company, they always have in the fine what's the what's the word I'm looking for? The fine print. That's it. In the fine print, you know, they do that kind of stuff. But yeah, there is definitely a unsubscribe option, May. So I'm sorry about that, but feel free to unsubscribe. Disclaimer, yeah. The fine print that no one reads. Exactly, Slugger. Dylan says, yeah, for sure. I saw you added my channel as a favorite, so I'm wondering, since we're mutuals, if you have to approve it now. Let's see what happens. Let's give it a shot. I'm gonna spin it up now. Actually, how do I do that again? I always forget how to do it. I think I have to go to your stream and then turn it on. Oh, people were asking, Dylan, if you turned off the correct words. They're not showing up on your stream, but they were showing up. They were showing up on my stream when I was demoing the tool to the words on stream developer. Did you do something in your CSS to like hide the correct word, or the not correct words, the missed words at the end of a round? I think we're joined now, are we? I just sent it. It looks like it might need to be approved still, Dylan. Dylan says, something is hiding them whenever my stream restarts. If I remove the tool and re-add it in OBS, it comes back. Really? That's an interesting bug. All right, there we go. I think we have to approve it still, Dylan. I think it would, honestly, it wouldn't be a good idea if Twitch allowed it to auto-approve just to be safe. Even though we're like you said, we added each other to our favorites in the sense of that feature. So we'll see.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today's Skika 999.
Skika or Shika, just open source whatever you're building, and I'll contribute and make it valuable. Welcome in, happy to have you here, first time chatter. It is open source for one. Two, I'm not sure that last part though, where you say admit you're going to contribute and make it valuable. I'm down for that. I'm open to people contributing. But are you assuming it's not valuable and only you can make it valuable for me? Like, did you mean it to be like a backhanded kind of slight thing? Or are you just, you know, you're like being genuine, like you want to add value yourself type of thing? You're just rage baiting? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I thought that might be the case. Getting you views. Okay. I gotcha. Well, welcome in. Happy to have you here. Appreciate the attempted rage bait. 10 out of 10 rage bait. Okay. Like, it's just so slight. Like, because you never know. Some people might mean, you know, they don't mean to be doing that, but it comes off that way, you know, especially through text. It's hard to tell. Clip it and post it to TikTok.
And thanks for joining today, Chris Funk 21.
Chris Funk, happy Friday. Good to see you. What you win of the week? Same to you. Shika? Do you prefer Shika, by the way, or how do you am I pronouncing the name correctly? I want to get your name right. It's like you're coming in here and you're like ready to rage bait and you're expecting me to be kind of like playful in that, and like I kind of am, but I'm also like a very like laid back person and like very not into doing those things. So sorry, I'm going to disappoint you there. But if you're interested in hanging out and chatting and working on this, seeing what I'm working on and learning together and that type of thing, that's cool too. I am pronouncing it correctly. Okay, cool. Chris Funk, win of the week, starting a new role in about 2 weeks. Congrats on getting the role. Very exciting. Very happy for you. Thank you for sharing. Round of applause in the chat for Chris Funk. What are you going to be doing, Chris Funk, if you don't mind sharing? If you don't want to share, you don't feel comfortable sharing that kind of stuff, that's cool. No pressure on that. Just really excited and happy for you and curious. Chica says, exactly. The best rage baits aren't identified as such immediately. True. Yes, that is true. Yep. When you've been on stream when you've been on Twitch or live streaming for a long time, you get a sense for it. You know? You definitely get a sense for that. Dylan's talking about, I restart my stream with the kill script and OBS saves when you properly shut it down. So I went ahead and did a proper close. So hopefully whatever happens doesn't come back when my automation reboots the stream this morning. Okay. I'm curious. I wonder if I don't know how we can identify that. Like to try and triage the issue and find the root cause of it in your situation. I wonder if it's something to do with like the browser in OBS. I guess that's a good question too for you, Dylan. Have you updated to the latest version of OBS? I personally haven't. And so maybe there's something with the browser source in the newer version that might be potentially interfering with things. Chris Funk says Azure DevOps and .NET C# Dev. That's awesome. Congrats on that, Chris Funk. Sounds like it's gonna be fun. Hope you're excited. And wishing you the best with it all, man. All right, catching up on some more chat. I checked to make sure you didn't change it from missing words to .missing words. No, I haven't updated. Well, I did, but I quickly learned my lesson and rolled it back. Okay, yeah, exactly. I'm very hesitant to update to the latest version of OBS. It prompts me like every time I open it up. And I always say, remind me later. And it does. I should probably just say skip this version, honestly. I can double check in terms of I got an update to do for VS Code here. I'm old in the dev world. I mean, if you're above 30, kids think you're old. So just saying. May says I'm old in the real world. May, come on. May, you still have a long life ahead of you. We gotta, I don't blame the younger generation for thinking whatever age is old to them, because I think we all did that when we were younger. We always thought like that age is so old, holy cow, But as you get older, you realize that like on the average, the human life is, I don't know, most people are living a lot longer, like in their 80s and stuff like that now, right? So like if you're not even at your 40s yet, or you're in your 40s, you're just halfway, which is kind of crazy to think about. You're just halfway. And if you're more than that, you're like, you still have another 20, 30 years. That's a long time, man. So, and I'm such a bad, as I've gotten older, I've gotten so bad at like really recognizing ages now. Especially when, as you age and then like your parents age, along with you, obviously, and you see what they look like. And then you see other people that look older. But as you get into that really older age, there's some people that just age well and there's some people that don't. And it really throws things off too. Like there's some people where I'm like, that person looks like they got to be like 80 or something like that. And you're like, no, that person's like late 60s, early 70s or something. Or vice versa, where you're like, that person looks younger and they're actually like 85 or something, like, I don't understand. Shika says, damn, I'm not even near 45 years. Yeah. So think about that, Shika. You got so much life to live still. assuming everything, assuming you stay healthy, you take care of yourself, and there's no, I wish you the best. I'm not saying I'm wishing any of that upon you, but I'm just saying, like, on average, you got a long lifetime ahead of you. So, like, is whatever the kids think 30 plus really old? No, it's not. There's still so much to go. A lot of people, if you haven't reached like 40s or 50s, you haven't really reached what midlife is nowadays, So, crazy to think about. Slugger says 1990 was only 20 years ago, right? No. It might feel that way, Slugger, but it's not. It's crazy long ago now. Crazy long ago. Dylan says the telling symptom of whatever is going on with my stream is that I have the exact same code in my Tamper Monkey extension and it looks just fine in my browser. So it does seem like it would be browser side on OBS. Okay, that's interesting. But also the only thing that's changed is the changes you committed, not an accusation. Just no worries. I'm not taking. I think by now. Maine definitely knows by now. Like, I welcome the feedback on the tool. Obviously be gentle on the feedback. Don't, not that you all do that, but I'm just saying, like, don't come at me like this sucks, like that type of thing. I mean, if it sucks, it sucks. That's fair. I'll accept that feedback, but you know what I mean? Like, just, feedback in a very constructive way and cordial, very much welcomed. Department says I'm old in the real world too. Sheikah says, did you guys work at startups or big corporations? Me personally, I've only worked at, prior to this current job, I worked at big corporations. This current job has become somewhere in between now, but was a startup, and I think technically still considered a startup. However, we have like over 1,000 people. When I joined, not that this is anything significant, I'm not like bragging about this, but when I joined the company, there was like about 600 people at the time. Sheikah says the MongoDB cup is a huge flex. Why? Nah, I went to a conference. I got a cup. No flex at all. No flex zone. I'm old in the dev world, says Chris Funk. Yeah, I guess, like, what is old in the dev world? Having 15, 20 years of experience? I was thinking about it. I'm at like 16 years of professional experience now, programming. Counting my internship. So. Dylan Karp. Don't get perfect in the first few boards if y'all can help it or stand it. Okay, yeah. May says, player view works for Dylan's stream. It does show missed words. Oh, that's interesting to hear too. I'll double check things on my end. It definitely is a possibility that there's something that I did on my end that kind of screwed with the missed words on your stream, Dylan. So we'll look into it and see. I'll double check I'll show you the CSS. Once I finish catching up on chat here, I'll double check the CSS in stream review for you and show you like what the classes are around the missed words, and we'll see what's going on. Dolphin is in Dylan's stream playing some words on stream. Good to see Dolphin as well. Dylan says, okay, yeah, so it's still not showing the missed words. Yep. All right. Not that you need to revert anything, would just be helpful to troubleshoot you. Yeah. I mean, if I have to revert stuff, I will too. Dylan, I'm gonna keep working on what we were working on last stream with like the layout and design and CSS stuff. So as much as it's frustrating for me and maybe for you watching me all stumble with CSS, it needs to get done. So it's really a good exercise for me, is forcing myself to learn more CSS and keep that part of the brain ticking, you know? Did I catch up on everything? I think I'm good. Don't says okay. Yeah, so it's still not. Player view. Sheikah says science and engineering is what always intrigued me. Okay, but somehow I'm stuck increasing stakeholder value 70% of the time and only 30% of it is engineering. Do you guys also feel the same? I definitely think that. So I assume you're at a big corporation then, Sheikah? I would say yeah. I mean, that's just the way things are these days, you know? May says, love watching you stumble, all in fun. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Sheikah says, I work for a 20 to 30 folk startup. Oh, okay, cool. So even at the startup, you're still feeling like that? Well, you know, I guess that's another aspect of it, Sheikah, is like working at a startup. One, you got to wear so many different hats, especially when you're at that like stage, that level or size, right? You gotta wear, I personally have not experienced working at a startup that small. So big props to you on that. I don't know. I had explored and interviewed at small startups about that and like got to know the folks at a small startup before and had heavily considered joining them. Just didn't work out. I chose to go in a different direction, but I know, or at least heard from friends and former colleagues that yeah, it's like it can be quite the challenge, quite the hustle going on there, and you know, like some people enjoy that, some people thrive in that, and that's awesome. I'm happy for them. For me personally, having a young family and stuff like that, it's that small of a startup and having that demanding where there's this expectation where you don't really have a work-life balance and you're investing all your time and energy in making that thing successful, which is understandable. It's just not, and at this stage of my life, it's just not it's just not a good time for me to be doing that type of thing. You know what I mean? I mean, if I had to, like I had no other option, absolutely I would do it, you know, make it, you know, but you know, so yeah, I feel you. I get it. Like when you're in a company like that, you definitely have to be working on stuff even outside of like what you want to work on, because you got to wear many different hats. You got to put in a lot of time and you got to create value. Chica says, I strongly agree with the hats stuff. There are also a lot of freedom to pick whatever you want. Drive projects personally, and I love it. Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely. I'm not centered, May. There we go. Thank you, May, for that feedback. Yeah, and like that's one of the perks of working at a small startup, you know? Like you get a lot of responsibility, a lot of autonomy, meaning like you get a lot of freedom, like you said, to work on what you think is going to bring the most impact to your company and make you guys successful. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons to the different types of companies to work at, and I think it really matters.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today, Marcus Voice Code.
It really matters what your life is like in the time that you're working at that company, right? To help you decide. For folks, I'm not saying you're doing this, but anybody watching this, it's kind of like maybe early stage career and they're looking to figure out where they want to go and like what they want to strive for. I think that's part of the thing that you got to weigh is like, well, generally speaking, if you're early stage in your career looking for entry level type of positions, you likely have less responsibility and more freedom in general in your life. So you can, like, that is a great time to work at a startup, in my opinion. I'm not saying that's your only option, but like you have a better situation than somebody like myself where I have other responsibilities and things that I got to worry about. Hold on a second. Mrs. Clark was like, are you going to eat lunch or are you just going to keep having coffee and donuts? Shout out Mrs. Clark. You're always looking out for me, taking care of me. What were we talking about? May says both. Yeah, both. So yeah, like if you're early stage career, I mean, that is a perfect time, I think, to explore what it's like working at a small company startup. So yeah, do it. Not to say it can't be done in the phase of life in the situation that I'm in right now. It's not necessarily ideal for me personally. Why choose one, choose both? Yeah. ¿Por qué no los dos? Have you seen those commercials, May? It's the taco shell commercial. I'm blanking on the brand. But it's that little kid and she's like, ¿Por qué no los dos? Why not both? All right. Shall we get into it? Dylan says to become truly centered, one must first become at peace with the universe. Ah, yeah. So true, Dylan. You've not seen that, May? Oh, I gotta show you this. Come on. YouTube it. Let's see. 4K no los dos. Pause the music. Pause. So they can't decide whether they're going to have hard shell or soft shell tacos. Ready?
How do you decide between crunchy and soft tacos?
¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos?
Old El Paso, hard and soft tacos.
You can get both.
Feed your fiesta.
Isn't that great advertising? Come on. That's what made me think. By your comment, it made me think of that. Stream is not centered? What do you mean by that, May? Sheikah says, I'm 26 and I effing love working at startups. Can't imagine working for Big Corp now. That, you know, look, I'm very happy for you, Sheikah. I think, like, not a lot of people, you should be very, very grateful. And I think you are from the sound of it. Pick in Discord. Okay, I'll check it in a second, May. I'm really happy for you. Just want to prepare you that you are going to change and evolve over time, and what may work for you now and that you really feel is a great environment and system to be working within now may change. Maybe it doesn't. And if that's, you know, either way, I wish you the best. I think that's awesome. Don't forget, you also have to critique or parody the commercial so it's fair use. Oh, right. I really like it. That was a great commercial. Are they really going to hit me up on that? A commercial from, like, I don't know, a decade ago? That with my terrible memory that I somehow remembered? You know? All right, let me see, May, what you sent me on my stream here. What? That's gotta be something Twitch is doing, no? That's something Twitch is doing, because when I'm watching on my laptop, it seems fine. May. Sheikah says, startups offer a lot of alcohol, live parties every weekend, and monthly alcohol allowance. How do you escape this trap? Get sober. That's how you escape it, Sheikah. Seems fine on YouTube? Yeah, it must be a Twitch thing, May. Dylan says, they're showing now, and all I did was copy the code from Tamper Point. Okay. Well, glad to hear it's working. It is so fun trying to manage both chats at the same time. Work hard, play hard. Chat, I think I told you. Did I tell you about my weekend away, my vacation? It was a guy's trip. And there was a lot of drinking. And I do not do well with that anymore, to say the least. No perfect, restriction lifted, team have at it. All right, there we go. Glad to hear it's fixed. All right, I had updated this. I wanted to connect to my code space. You're going for the clear? Start working on WoS Assist. Did you go to Vegas? No, I went to Nashville. Nashville was really nice. I like Nashville. I want to bring the family back there. Mrs. Clarkio and I love live music, so it was awesome to see a lot of that going on. I think the kids would like it. It was the perfect time of year to go. Beautiful weather. Sheikah says, I'm not American, but I wish to build a startup, and when it goes 10K monthly recurring revenue, just gamble it all in Texas poker. Okay. What do you mean you're not American? Are you based in? Are you working here though, like based in America type of thing, or you're working at a startup outside in another country? I mean, don't. Let me backtrack that a little bit. Do not feel any pressure to share like your location and dox yourself if you're not, comfortable doing that type of thing. I totally understand. What is going on with all these notifications here? Tools preview and agent preview support will be deprecated. Interesting. Shika says, I work in a startup outside of America, but most of our customers are American. Okay, got you. Fair enough. Gemini Code Assist. I thought I had disabled a lot of these. Like, this is the thing that happens sometimes with VS Code is like, I uninstall and remove extensions and then they come back. This is a word of advice, by the way. If you are a developer, extensions have been on the attack lately. So hackers out there are really leveraging the fact that developers, like all the tools that developers use, they're trying to leverage that to get access to developer machines, and therefore once they have access to developer machines, get access to sensitive data like API keys, connection strings, passwords, that type of thing that are in your like env files or whatever, or available to your AI CLI tools. Hold on. Chat, I gotta go help my kiddo out. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, chat. Poor kid, man. Hate seeing my kids sick. I wish I could just like take the sickness out of them, put it on me, and like let me deal with it instead of them. She wanted me to carry her up to the other room. All right, I want to clean up. So I was talking about extensions. Do an audit on your extensions that you might be using in your IDE and get rid of whatever you don't actually need. Okay? Because it just, like, attackers are really taking advantage of this attack vector. I like Prisma, but when I need it, I'll reinstall it. I haven't been doing Python development. I don't need to have that lately. I'll keep Sneak there. I do kind of use Thunder Client. Uninstall the view. Material icon theme. I like that. I use that. After Dark. I don't need that theme. Clear. Blue Thunder. Yeah, I went through and have I not synced this? I must not have synced my uninstall all. Yep. I don't want container tools. Anyway, attackers are really targeting extension developers via extensions and command line tools like crazy now. So this is your public service announcement to go ahead and do an audit of all of your extensions and really be strict about what extensions you actually need. If you haven't used that extension in so long, yank it out of there. Say bye-bye. Peace out. Because like, especially if you're not using it, right? Like, what the heck's the point? I haven't used live server, NDX. OneDark Pro can go. That's mine. Get rid of Python environments and stuff. REST book. REST client. I tend to use that. I used to do plus still a lot. I use Night Owl. I don't really use Peacock. I'm gonna get rid of that too. All right, let's refresh that. And let me do this really quick. Conflicts.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today, Dolphin Mermaid.
Hey, Dolphin, good to see you too. How are you doing? What's your win of the week if you got one to share? No pressure. Did I miss anything in chat while I'm doing this? Dylan says, oh man, Carp Jr. was starting to get sick yesterday too, and he had his Halloween party today. Oh man, yeah. Sorry to hear that, Dylan. Hope the kiddo stays healthy. Mine is got the flu. We found out this morning. Went to the doctor in the morning. I think I'm all caught up then. Oh, Marcus, I'm sorry I missed your message earlier. Do you find there's a lag working North America code space compared to working locally in Visual Studio Code? Well, it's funny you say that, Marcus. There was a big outage in Azure, which I imagine I know you do a lot of C#.NET development, so you probably felt that or were impacted by it, right? So, in May, I see your message too. I must have missed that. Sorry about that. So there was an outage recently with Azure that impacted GitHub too. And so I couldn't connect to GitHub Codespaces, and I was trying to record a video actually. So I ended up just running locally. But generally speaking, outside of that, that was the first time, Marcus, I ever really ran into like connection performance issues with GitHub Codespaces. Okay. And I think it really it depends on your needs and wants with that. Chris Funk, what do you mean front door? That was rough for my team? Oh, okay, yeah. When it went out? Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry to hear that, rather. So I personally, I don't want to, although I already have, but I was trying to keep this computer as like clean and fresh as possible without having to install a lot of my developer tools that I normally install. Like, normally I really like to use WSL. Windows subsystem for Linux. I really prefer that over the native Windows PowerShell and command line tooling. But the nice in between or thing that holds me over for that is I use Git Bash, so that holds me over in that regard. And then like doing container stuff. Like I don't have Docker installed on this machine at all, and containerization or virtualization going. I don't want to do any of that on this machine to bog it down, because I experienced that with my past machine. and I don't want that to happen again on this machine. So I tend to lean on GitHub Codespaces as my development environment. If you're not familiar with that, it's a cloud development environment, essentially. Think of your whatever IDE you like to use or the machine you like to work on. You spin up essentially a managed virtual machine in the cloud that you connect to remotely, and you work and do all your development for each project in a separate instance of that. That's what GitHub Codespaces is. There's other competitors out there like Gitpod and Coder, which are pretty good tools as well. I like them, but like I lean on GitHub Codespaces because it's just natively or semi-natively available via VS Code. It's just like I'm already in that ecosystem, and they have a pretty generous free tier that I've rarely reached the limits on and go over to where I don't even have to pay for GitHub Codespaces. I just use the free tier for the most part. So now that's because like I'm only working on it for I'm only using it for side projects, and I only work on those side projects maybe once or twice a week, sometimes not at all throughout for a week. And so therefore I don't, I'm not using it as much as somebody that might be using it in the, 8 hours a day type of thing, developing on a project. So that is something to note about GitHub Codespaces. The other added advantage that I like about Codespaces, beyond removing the dependency on this machine, that's part of it though, right? Is like if I was working locally on this machine, Marcus Voice Coder, then any changes I make, if I want to be able to work on another machine, I have to make a commit and push those to a remote repository and then pull those changes down on the other machine. Not a big deal, right? Like it's not like a huge issue, and it's perfectly reasonable and a common workflow to have. However, there's just something to be said about being able to quickly switch from this desktop to a laptop, or something like maybe I'm out and about or whatever, I'm working at a coffee shop or something. I can just quickly and easily spin up and connect to that code space. Again, so long as I have an internet connection. And I love that experience. The reason why I think it's a little bit more friction for me to do the whole flow of like, all right, let me commit my changes and push them up to a repository and then pull those changes down separately, is like, I don't know what it is. I have like a mental blocker or friction in my mind that like, if I'm not done adding whatever it is or finishing, I'm not done with what I'm working on as a feature or bug fix, it feels weird to make a commit and push that to the repository on a separate branch, of course, but it just feels weird. Like commits to me feel more official. Like something is a piece that is done. And if I'm in the middle of something and it's not actually done, it feels weird to me to commit that to my branch and push those changes. And so that's another reason why, I know that's stupid, but it's just like a mental blocker for me that I don't get past. I struggle to get past. And when, again, it's a convenience factor. Think about it. Like I have to add all my changes to the Git repository. So I do git add, I have to type that out. I have to do git commit, and then I have to come up with some type of commit message that is relevant. Or I guess I could just not do that and not care. But again, it's a mental blocker. Like I care. I want the commit message to be something meaningful to me so I can look at the history and understand what happened. And then I git push. Then I got to switch to the other machine, fetch the changes, pull them down locally, and spin everything back up. Or I work in a GitHub code space. I just got to connect to that code space, and then I have the changes ready to go, and I pick up right where I left off, no added steps. So that's why I like it, and that's why I lean on that. I know that's a very long-winded answer to your question, Marcus Voice Coder, but in any case. But on the other hand, I see the appeal of, especially nowadays where we rely heavily on an internet connection to do development. In fact, I'm thinking of an idea of making a video on how to work completely offline, even with like AI coding tools. I'm very curious to explore what that would be like and how to set that up and like, clear. I think that would be valuable to people, because I think there's a lot of people feeling like too much of like reliance on having an internet connection to do their development, and they're curious about being able to do things offline more. So I'm thinking about making a video on that. Is that something that, speaking of, would you all be interested in some content like that? I'm curious. Ooh, local LLMs are cool and probably way underutilized. Exactly, Dylan. Like the cost of that too. And like, you know what kind of inspired this? My buddy. I don't know him all that well. I say my buddy, but I just like CJ a lot. Coding Garden. He used to stream on Twitch, but then he joined the Syntax folks, and he does streaming there and videos there. You'd be interested in watching that? Okay, that's good to hear, me. Go to YouTube actually.com/syntax. So CJ made a video on the Syntax channel recently talking about AI and to stop using AI for this. I highly recommend checking out this video. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Highly recommend checking out this video if you're a developer. I'm gonna paste that in the chat there. Did I see CJ's tweets? No. What was it, May? I don't really. The only times I go on Twitter is to post on there, or even on any social media really, is to mostly post. I try to limit myself to consuming a lot of social media. So I didn't see CJ's tweets, but I do see his content that he posts on Syntax. What was his tweets about, May? Feel free to fill me in. While I'm waiting to hear about that, I highly recommend this video from made by CJ on the Syntax channel. Stop using AI for this. I had no idea that people were using AI for some of these use cases. Like parsing phone numbers from text. Did you know people were using AI to do that? I didn't. I don't think that would be like if I had that task come across my desk, like, hey, we need you to like write some code, a function or something like that parses a phone number from text. I would look. I don't think, well, one, my knee-jerk reaction would not be like, oh, let me go have AI do it. My knee-jerk reaction, still not the best, but my knee-jerk reaction would be maybe there's an NPM package that already does phone number parsing from text. And I would search for that, evaluate those, and spend time on that, and then how to use it, like what's its API, and then build a function around that. Or in the case that, and CJ does mention that in here as an example, or write a regular expression, something like that. Sheikah, for the average human, what'd you say? I missed the other message. Access to AI would be more difficult than access to the internet for the average human. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Mace is about the AI. Yeah, so CJ, let me be clear too. CJ, who's right here. Awesome dude. Built up the Coding Garden community on Twitch, which is an awesome community. And, I hope at some point he's able to find some time or get the capacity, if he wants to, that is. I very much welcome and be happy to see him come back to streaming on the regular on Twitch. He's somebody that I look at that is like I've been doing JavaScript and Node.js development for so many years, but I still feel like I don't know everything about it. And he is somebody that like from memory can just do a lot of JavaScript, like just knows a lot of the ins and outs of the language. And it's very impressive to me. So I have a lot of respect and what's the word I was looking for? Respect and I don't know what the word is. In any case, a lot of positive outlook on CJ, and when he's saying stuff like this, I take it serious. I don't take it lightly. Like it means a lot when he's talking about this stuff, and he makes very good points. Things that I guess I just he articulates things that I've felt that I've never thought or said out loud necessarily. You know what I mean about AI? But I also assumed. Like from this video, I didn't realize people are using AI in these ways. And again, I don't want to give it away. I want you all to check it out. It's very, admiration. That's the word I was looking for, May. I want you all to check it out because I didn't realize the different ways people were using AI outside of, I had assumed that they use it in a more practical, pragmatic way and not just for everything, But I stand corrected. It was very eye-opening. And then that costs money. It costs CPU cycles for having AI parse. Whereas, and so the reason this thought came up was talking about working locally versus having an internet connection. CJ makes this point several times in the video where he's like, it doesn't cost me anything and you do it locally. Like it happens instantly. You don't have to wait to send it to an AI. The AI parses and understands the prompt and then does its thing to infer and figure out the answer figure out a answer, not the answer necessarily, because a lot of times you're not going to get a great answer or a response that's truly fulfilling the need that you have of that prompt. You know what I mean? Like, so there's that whole cycle of interacting with AI to parse a phone number from text. And instead of doing that, you have a lot of options that are like instantaneously will get you the result that you want, was the point he was making. Like, you can do that offline without an internet connection. And that's what got me thinking, like, yeah, we really need a video. Maybe CJ's already working on this, and we'll see on the syntax channel. There should be a video. It gave me the idea for a video of like, here's how to truly work offline, do development offline, and kind of, because what I'm seeing from CJ here, and I think it's a great thing, is it's going against the grain of all the hype and like momentum that's happening right now. And it's like that, like if I see that, if I don't know syntax and I don't know this video and I see this content, it says stop using AI for this, that's so different from all the other content I'm seeing online right now. Like, a lot of people are saying AI this and AI, you know, like they're like riding that hype train, which again, I understand, like it's a big deal. There's definitely positives and good use cases for AI right now within development and outside of development, but there's also a lot of cons to it. And I don't see a lot of people making noise around the cons of it as much as I see people making noise around the pro of it, right? And so when you see this is a showstopper, you know? You see that come across your feed, you're like, oh wait, I need to see this. I need to understand what they're saying. What you know, again, assuming somebody that doesn't know anything about syntax or CJ, they're gonna be like, whoa, I gotta watch this video because that's not common what I'm seeing in my feed. It goes against the grain, right? And so I feel like another video in that same vein would be that goes against the grain of what people are always showing, giving tips on and tutorials on, is building stuff with an internet connection. Well, what if you don't have an internet connection? What if that's hard to come by? What if you don't want to? What if your internet connection goes down or it's really spotty? Can you keep working? Right? Anyway, I'm going off on a lot of tangents today. It's probably the caffeine kicking in. And I'm not doing a lot of building. Let me catch up on chat a little bit more though, because I feel like I missed some stuff there in that conversation. All right. And then May said, have you been to a hockey or football game in Nashville? You should try it. We did go to a Tennessee Titan game. I really enjoyed it. I love going to new football stadiums across the US because they all have different, like, you know, cultures, if you will, around the team, different like traditions and stuff like that. And I really enjoy learning and experiencing those things whenever I go to a new place that, or even a place that I've been to before, but I've never been to their football game, their local football team. So one of the ones that stands out to me is like a few years ago, or several years ago now. Yes, I saw them building a new stadium, May. It's literally right next to the existing stadium. So one thing I'll tell you that surprised me about the Titans, that scared the freaking daylights out of me and the other guys I was with. Anytime there's a touchdown by the Titans, they shoot off fireworks, or any scoring, I think it is. They shoot off fireworks. I didn't know that. And it's so loud and so close to you that like, it freaked me. I jumped out of my skin. It's so startling. That was one thing that stood out to me from them. Clear. But yeah, we saw the stadium that's being built. It's like literally right next door to the existing stadium. So it looks cool. It looks like it's going to be great. And I'm, you know, one day, maybe hopefully I'll be able to go back again and see a game at the new stadium. Let's keep this on Dylan's here so that you all see what you're working with. What else were we talking about? Have you been to a Tampa Bay game? They shoot off a cannon. The ship is in the end zone. Yes, I have as well, May. That is a cool experience. Oh, I was talking about one of my favorite experiences for an NFL game in terms of the culture and traditions around it was the Minnesota Vikings. I love the atmosphere there. It's really cool. The stadium is like, it's really new, so it's like really pristine and like cool looking. The Vegas one is pretty cool too. I went to that one not too, like a little bit, I went to that one more recently than the Minnesota Vikings one. But like just new stadium wise, the one in Vegas is really cool. Obviously that one was just not too long ago built. The Minnesota Vikings one, and then I think next year, I don't know if I'm going yet, we're going to go to the Dallas Cowboys new stadium. So that horn, yeah, the horn is cool. Like the chants that they do is cool. It's a very fun it's a very fun atmosphere for the Vikings. So I very much enjoyed that. That's one of my favorite places to go see a football game was there. So yeah, I'm just sharing that because it goes to show you, like, I really do enjoy going to new stadiums, new football teams, and experiencing their traditions and their chants and that type of stuff there. I feel like it's okay to say the culture, right? Like, it's a culture. Come to my city. Yeah, one day, May. I'm just trying to catch up on anything I missed. Sheikah says use cursor instead. Why do you like... Tell me why. Why do you like cursor more, Sheikah? What makes it stand out to you more than... Oh, I just saw the view adjust. I think that's something you reported on, right, May? We got some lunch now, too. So it's going to delay working on stuff even more. Yeah, Sheikah, if you're still there, what are some of your reasonings why... Yeah, I saw the shrinkage, May. What are some reasons why you prefer cursor over VS Code? Let me know. We'd love to hear it. Dylan was talking about Carp Jr. being sick. Hope they get well. Hope they can have fun on the holiday. Dolphins has been playing words all week. Nice, Dolphin. Did a few jobs. Okay, cool. Sheikah says, why not build a B2B, business-to-business SaaS, rake $2 million in funding, and just bail to the Maldives? Yeah, why not? Dylan says, Carp Jr. is doing well, went to school, but he's just a bit rough and lacking some energy. He's still 1,000% more energy than Mrs. Carp and I. Oh, yeah, I know, right? Don't you wish you can harness that? Bottle it up and share it. Bottle up the energy. Chris Funk says it was a front door outage. Oh, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying now. Sorry it took me so long to catch up to that. Dylan says, did they forget to update their DNS like AWS? I think it's something like front door is related to DNS. It's a networking tool, like a web application firewall type of service, right? I know of front door, but I don't know the specifics of it. So maybe Chris Funk can elaborate on that.
An ad is about to start in 2 minutes.
That's how long I've been yapping. An ad is about to start. Did you see CJ's tweets about the AI? Sheikah says access to AI would be more difficult than access to internet. Yeah, first time scoring with PUDs. The average human. Dylan says, I love doing things kind of automations. A huge part of my job is marketing data analysis, and I run data through ChatGPT all the time, especially to clean or separate / join data. You know, I mean, you and I are very similar in that way, Dylan. I love building out automations for things, finding connections between, or building connections between things that don't normally have that type of connection. Like, that's why I started working on this tool, you know? Dolphin says, I used AI to make my emotes. Nice.
1 minute on Twitch.
Yeah, like there's definitely pros and cons to using AI. There's pros and cons to using AI. Now, depending on the person, some people might say the cons outweigh the pros or vice versa, right? I don't know for sure. Like, I still think we're in the midst of this whole thing, this technology, and we've yet to see which direction things are going to go, if it's going to be a more positive direction or a more negative direction. So there's a lot of concern around that. Have I looked into Google's Notebook LM much? It's crazy. No, not much, I would say. What have you done with it, Dylan? If you can share, if you don't mind sharing. Trin says, oh, how I miss my Dolph emotes. So we got Dolph126 Mermaid, Happy, and Puzz. Those look great. They're a little small on the screen. I'm going to look closer. Hold on. Yeah, very nice, Dolph. Good job on those emotes. Marcus says, I'm using GitHub Copilot to draft all my messages with AI. Okay, yeah. You can use them without subbing too. That's great, Dolph. Department says, what if you are on an airplane working with Wi-Fi access? Right, but think about that though. Even though you have Wi-Fi access on the plane, it's nowhere. I mean, at least right now. Maybe that'll change over the years as technology advances. But like the speed you get, probably not so good for downloading or doing the connections and live updates to things that you might rely on for your development purposes, right? You know what I mean?
The ad is starting now and will go for 180 seconds.
Man, I am so far behind. All right, I'm up to May saying that horn clear. Excuse me. May says, been there. They have Dr. Pepper at Dallas. Nice. Yeah, why not? I forget what that was in response to. May. This is a new song, I think.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today, Royal_.
Roy Lacey had visitors. Hello. I hope you had good visitors and everything was going well. How are you? What's your win of the week if you got one, Roy Lacey? Happy to have you here. All right, I'm up to Dylan's message about have you looked into Google Notebook? Man, I am so far behind. Starlink, yes. Starlink's pretty good. $2 million. I don't remember what that was in reference to. Sorry. All right, Dylan's message. Here's one of the cooler things I've done with Notebook LM from Google. My wife and I were vacationing in the Red River Gorge, and even though the views and trails were beautiful, there wasn't much education about the people, the geographical features, and the local flora, fauna, and general history of the area. Yeah. We were driving back home, and Mrs. Karp was like, man, I wish we could listen to a podcast or something about RRG. And so I just pulled out my phone and told ChatGPT to do deep research on RRG. Okay. But how does this work into Notebook LM though? I'm curious. The anticipation is killing me. I'm gonna take a bite out of my food while I'm waiting. Clear. It was lovely. As for win of the week, finished the antidote. So now I have a full cycle. Antidote to your poison? Did you test it out on yourself again? And it worked? Dylan says, had it do deep research on RRG and asked about all of those things that we were interested in learning about. It spits out its research report. Then I put that report and all of its sources into Notebook LM. And one of the features is that it is able to generate a podcast. Oh, okay. Which it calls audio overviews. And it sounds like a literal two-person podcast having a conversation about all the things we were interested in learning. That's freaking awesome. No way. I'm gonna have to check that out then. There's several times where I wish I can listen to an article audibly that doesn't have that feature built into the website. There's got to be a product out there now, right? That people use to like convert an article or something into audio. All right, sounds good, Dylan. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, definitely a clever use case, like Dolphin said. All right, I'm gonna play WoS on Dylan's stream while I'm eating here. There's the immersive reader on Microsoft Edge. Oh, is there, Marcus? I'll have to check that out. I wonder if Brave does that too. Let's hide the overlay here. Oh, thank you for the 3 stream streak, Roy Lacey. Oh no, we're gonna fail this one. All right, thanks, Dylan. I appreciate that. I think for the sake of time right now, am I moving things along? I might not do it on stream, but I will check it out for sure. It's definitely of interest to me. Nonce. Yeah, I got you. No worries, Dylan. I appreciate that heads up too. You know me. You knew I would ask. I would have asked beforehand. You're just jumping ahead of that, right? It's starting to get hot in here. I'm going to turn the fan on. Notebook LM can also do mind maps, and they have a video mode that basically creates a narrated PowerPoint presentation too. There's so many use cases for it. It's hard to really say exactly it would be good for on a video. Really? I had no idea. I had no idea, Dylan. I appreciate you bringing this up. Is it paid or is it free? Imagine it's using like Google Gemini behind the scenes. Wow, May jumped on that big word right away. Lunch is done. Clear. Hey, clear. I just cleared my plate. You pay for Gemini Pro and it comes with that, but I think is a free version as well. I'm not sure what the rate limits / feature limits are in the free tier. Okay. All right, that's good to know. Thanks I appreciate all that insight, Dylan. That's cool. I'll have to tinker at some point. Bird that moves, cowbird. Also, sick Windows editor will be quite useful for me at least. What do you mean by that, Riley? Just let me know exactly how blown away you are once you check it out. Okay. Will do, Dylan. I'm gonna turn the fan on. Hold on. Bow boy. Open command and type edit. Oops. Oh gosh. Pressed the wrong button there. By now, I presume your Windows machine already got the app. Edit. Edit power plan. Edit registry. Minecraft Java edition. I don't think I have it. I haven't updated. I have a Windows update still. Can we get AI to play words on stream, or is that wrong? I'm not going to do that. But I think you certainly can if you want to. I have a Windows update. Windows 11 version 24H2 that it's pending a restart. And I'm not wanting to do that, to be honest with you. Oh, command? Let me open up my terminal. Command prompt. Edit. Edit is not recognized in an internal or external command, operable program, or batch file. I typed edit in the Windows start menu search bar. There's no edit command prompt thing for my system. Yeah, I don't have it yet. I'm guessing this needs to restart. Yeah, cancel that. So basically they added a very simple editor so you can edit files from terminal without opening an app. Nice. So like instead of using Vim or Nano, I guess they never had that, right? Hold on. Because Windows doesn't have that, but Unix-based operating systems do, right?
Thanks for the raid,
Ayo, with the raid.
Seven lovely people. Oh snap.
Dessert time.
Underscore just raided us with 11 viewers.
Windows version. Oh, nice, yeah.
Oh underscore just raided us with 11 viewers. Welcome in and thanks for joining today. Oh underscore.
What's up, Ayo? Good to see ya. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for the raid and welcome in everybody from Ayo stream. Happy to have you here.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today. Tiege underscore Khalil.
Khalil, great to see you again as well. Thank you for being here and joining on the raid. Very happy to have you all. If you are new here, I am your host, Clarkio. I do a lot of development, not so much design. I'm terrible at it. Although I've been working on my CSS skills. I'm trying here. We've been building out a tool that helps play this game Words on Stream, which is what you see here with the letters. The tool adds this piece here, the correct words that are guessed, and at the end of the round, it shows what words you missed or potential words you missed. And then it uses some of the techniques that the more advanced or experienced players of this game use in the chat, where we share the big word that was guessed, hidden letters that are there, and fake letters that are put on the, depending on what level you're on, are in the game. And then I also added like the channel's personal best, all-time best level that you've reached in the game, and then for the day, today's best level that you reached in the game. So I've been working on getting this layout a bit better for different views of, there's two roles basically when you use this tool. You're either a streamer that wants to show this on your stream, which we have a couple people that do that, or you're a player that wants to use this tool while playing in somebody else's stream. So I need to tweak the player view, and you all are rating at just the right time where I'm getting into that technical portion of working on that more. So if any or all of that interests you, I hope you stick around, and thank you for joining in on the raid. If not, maybe another stream in the future will be of more interest to you. And, you know, I want you to use your time wisely. So if it's not going to interest you, I hope you have a good rest of your Friday and weekend, and see you around next time. Ayo, thank you again, buddy. Appreciate the raid. How have you been, man? What's your win of the week if you got one to share? No pressure. Timing be good then. Yes. Yeah, because I was yapping a lot, Ayo. Went off a couple tangents. Was helping out with some stuff at home here because we got a kid home sick and eating lunch. So worked out timing wise. Perfect. What are the odds? All right. Connected to WoS Assist. I need to pull in some changes, but I currently have some changes going on. What was I doing here? I don't know what was going on here. Must have been making some changes. Oh, it's just white space changes. Dang it. Why does it keep doing that to me? That was another, I don't want to give the video away, but that was when I was talking about CJ's video about stop using AI for this. People are using AI to format JSON for them. Like, that is just mind-boggling. They must be really new entry-level developers, because I feel like most, unless it's an experienced developer and they're just doing it to just kind of tinker with AI, fine. But what CJ was showing in the video, again, this is on the Syntax YouTube channel. Check it out. I shared the link in the chat a while back if you want to check the VOD. I think I might still have it up here. Yeah, this is it right here. Stop using AI for this. The Syntax channel. CJ is this fine gentleman right here. And I was very eye-opening. I had no idea people were using AI for this. This just reminded me of that, this white space stuff. I don't need those changes. Oh, I think I was working on this. Was I? Let's see if I can pull in the changes without any I don't want to do that. I don't want to have any conflicts. Oh my, I just noticed it's open source. Windows making something open source? No way, really. Marcus says humans will always take the easiest route. Is that the easiest route though? Format JSON with AI? I think there are much easier, and CJ demonstrates easier. Like if you're a developer and you need to format JSON, CJ demonstrates there are much easier routes. Dylan says, always hire a lazy person because they will figure out how to get something done with the least amount of effort. But think about that for a minute. I mean, I hear you, Dylan. Like, I guess there's some merit to that. Maybe. But think about what that costs. I don't want. You just watch the video. Watch. CJ covers it all. Everything that like I would think and want to say about that, CJ articulates beautifully and perfectly. And I really recommend just go watch CJ's video. Let me get the link one more time. I don't think that fits what you were thinking there, though. You know what I mean? There's the link in the chat again. Really highly recommend people check that out. It's just kind of mind-boggling to me. All right. Do I need all this?
Thank you
I
for
was doing.
Athen Utita.
Hey, Athen Utita. Appreciate that follow. Welcome in. Happy to have you here. May says, you working on the menu? Yes, we'll work on the menu.
Thanks for joining today, Ayush Sharma.
Ayush! A good knowledge of regex required. Shh. Yeah. I think no. Also, great to see you here, Ayush. Thank you for being here and chatting. Nutita, sorry. Hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Thank you again for the follow. Welcome in. Ayush. I don't think you have to have regex memorized, but knowing that that is a tool available to you and then using other tools to help you come up with the right regular expression to use that also doesn't create like a denial of service attack. If you're not familiar with that, by the way, there's basically when a regex is run, if you have too complex of a regular expression that takes a lot of processing power, it can, like, attackers will use that to their advantage to take down your systems and create a denial of service attack against you. So that's another thing to be wary of with regular expressions. But point I'm getting at, though, is yes, like, it's good to know and lean on that as a tool to fulfill your needs in a lot of use cases that may come up. But I don't think you have to know. I don't think you have to know everything or how to write regular. I to this day, I've written several regular expressions over my career, but I don't remember. I don't really remember all the syntax to it, and I always look it up. Like, that is one of the least memorable things I've experienced in programming. I'm sure if I did it more often, I probably would get to that point where it's muscle memory. Case in point, what I was talking about before, why I have so much respect and admiration for CJ. I'm willing to bet he probably has regular expression syntax memorized. He's that good with JavaScript and that type of stuff. So, man, I'm gassing up CJ today. What else did I miss in chat here? Ayo says, I format JSON by saving the file with prettier. Exactly, and that's free. You don't need an internet connection to do that. It doesn't cost you anything by sending it to an AI LLM. It doesn't, use up added CPU cycles off of your machine or in some big freaking data center that's eating up CPU cycles for that and consuming power. You know what I mean? It's so wasteful in that regard. That's one of those cons with AI, right? Like, we're using AI for things that we shouldn't use AI for. Like, here's another thing. Oh gosh, I'm gonna keep yapping. Sorry, we're going off on a tangent again. But I just feel like you all enjoy when I do this stuff, so I'm just gonna ride it. Okay. I know you all enjoy when I work on stuff. I enjoy when I work on stuff and make progress on the project.
Thanks for joining today, Danish.
Danish, good to see you, buddy. It's perfect timing, Danish. I'm going on a rant here a little bit. Like, think about Sora. Have you all seen Sora from OpenAI? I want to be very clear. I'm like both. My stance on AI is like fairly neutral. Like, I see, as I mentioned before, I see that there is potential, and even right now. Well, let me put it. Let me talk it in the sense of like right now and future. Okay. As of right now, I'd say my opinion of AI is fairly neutral, maybe leaning a little bit more towards positive outlook on it. Okay. That's right now. And then because of that, I feel like there is still potential for in the future AI to have a positive outcome and impact on life. All that said, I also think there's I am very frustrated with some of the cons side of things. Like case in point here is, if you heard about when Sora came out, which was, I don't know, within the past couple weeks, Sora 2 rather, is OpenAI's newest version of video generation. And so and this is, maybe this comes off as a little biased because I make videos myself, but I don't feel threatened by this at all. So that's not where this is coming from. It's more of like, what is the intention behind having a tool like that? I struggle with that particular one to see the pros outweighing the cons of technology like that, because of people making up videos about real people and making videos about real people, but what happens in the video is false and not true and didn't really happen. Like, as an example, that to me, like, is the damage of something like that greatly outweighs any of the pros. And I really don't know. Maybe you all have heard of some positives of like video generation via something like Sora 2. Like, and that's just from OpenAI. I know there's other ones out there, but I'm just saying, like, that one's getting the most talked about and hype since it came out. It's the most recent one. It's the newest version of it. Like, they put on, and then on top of that, they think, oh, we're just going to put a little moving watermark in the video to show that this is actually AI generated video. But within, I don't know what, hours, there was already a tool that people could use to remove that from the video and make it look like it was more realistic, even more like to like hide the signature that this was actually generated by Sora 2. You know what I'm saying? So like, to me, when it comes to that aspect and use case of AI, that feels way more like the cons outweigh the pros. And in that particular situation, I don't really see a lot of pros, other than maybe like, I don't know, there could be like maybe one trying to be balanced about this and not heavily leaning in one direction negatively about something. But maybe a pro could be like, you could use that to help you generate B-roll that would otherwise be very difficult to produce and costly to produce, maybe, and it's way cheaper to go that route. Maybe that's a pro. I don't know. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, like trying to find an idea, because I've not seen a lot of people talk about what the pros would be of this Sora 2 technology, this AI video generation stuff. I feel like there's way more cons with that than there are pros, just to give you a balanced example. Whereas like with AI coding, like I think there's a lot of pros involved with it. I see more pros or potential positives with it than I do negatives. There is negatives with it. I'm not being ignorant or denial of that. But you get what I'm saying? So that's why, like, for me, it's very much, I'm like kind of in the middle on these things, because there's different aspects of this. The other thing too, let's keep in mind, I'm really going off on a tangent here. We keep calling it AI. It's not AI. I hope you all know that too. Like, AI is artificial intelligence. All of these technologies right now, they're large language models. It's just, that's harder to say for people. So we just kind of go and say AI instead. So with large language models, it's inferring. So it's been trained on stuff, like, to give a very rough and like rough around the edges and not comprehensive overview of how this stuff is working. It's a model that's been given inputs over and over again of data, all kinds of data. Okay. And then with that information, it's guessing what the right answer would be. So let's take like code generation, right? It's been trained on so much data points of code from open source and GitHub, which, pause for a second on this too. What it's been trained on, not always the most ethical or moral way that they went about getting that data, right? Like they potentially, I don't know that it's been proven, and they say that they only trained on open source data that was properly licensed for them to train on, and right? Like, but do we really know and trust that is exactly, like, is there a way to verify that? I don't feel like there is. I don't know of one, at least in my world of knowledge and experience here. But all right, getting back on track to the original tangent here. So that's another con potentially in this space. So when it comes to code generation, it's been trained on so much code that when you ask it to do something, it's inferring, like it's I don't know if I can articulate this. This shows a little bit like where if I don't have in-depth knowledge of something, it's a little bit harder for me to articulate when I'm trying to teach somebody else about it. But the way I think of it is it's guessing the next word. It's guessing the next code syntax for that language that it's been trained on. You know what I mean? It's not actually thinking on its own. It's literally just pulling from those data points, and it's like, oh, I see the pattern from this, and I'm going to apply that pattern here. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that well? Especially those of you that maybe are more knowledgeable on this stuff, let me know. So it's not AI. It's not actually artificial intelligence. It's not like to the level of the human brain being able to create and build something out of nothing. It's using data points and guessing.
Welcome in and thanks
So.
for joining today, SteelToad_.
Steel Toad. Hey, good to have you here. Thank you for your message. Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind on all your messages. And thank you for being a first-time chatter. It's basically playing words on stream with your query. Sure. It's guessing. Yeah, it's just like what your phone's keyboard is doing. Yes. I've heard people say that. I feel like I've heard people say it's like a very advanced IntelliSense or like auto completion. It's a very advanced auto completion tool. I think that oversimplifies it, but that does help give you the idea of how the technology is kind of working behind the scenes. AO says, semantically speaking, intelligence can't be artificial, and something artificial cannot be intelligent. That's a good point too. I never thought about it that way. Today I came, you helped me come to that realization as well. All right, I got a lot of chat to catch up on too now, because I feel like you all were adding into that, your thoughts. I love hearing your thoughts when I'm going on these tangents. What did I miss in chat? Where did I forget where I left off, honestly. I went as far back as I could on here. All right, I shared CJ's link. Roy Lisi says, knee wouldn't work, would be lazy to the point, would push your deadline so far before actually doing the short solution. Talking about a lazy person, that discussion from earlier? Yeah. Deep Harvin says, I used AI a couple of weeks ago to change the dates in an XML document. I had 64 dates to change, and it was easier to have it do it. Formatting is built into most development editors. Wait, Deep Harvin, it was easier to have the AI do it or you do it? I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly before I respond to that. The way you were kind of setting up that whole thing, it seemed like I thought, or at least maybe that was my bias going off here, but I thought you were going in the direction of like you ended up changing the 64 dates instead of having it change it. Again, go watch CJ's video on syntax. That's like an exact use case that people have used AI for that he calls out in it. All right, I'm up to Ayusha's comment. A good knowledge of regex is required. Dylan says, so this person just must not be lazy enough then. Maybe Dylan, yeah. Everyone's figured out the payment big word. Clear. Roy Lisi says, it becomes second nature at some point, to be fair. Yes, when you do something often enough, yeah. May says, you should have CJ on stream. I have no way of really getting into. I don't know. I've tried DMing CJ on Discord before, and I don't think he's very active on there, or maybe Discord is because we're not like, maybe he's got settings set up on Discord where he doesn't get bothered by messages that he's not already connected with. I have tried, because in the sense of the way I've tried to connect with CJ before is like there's, in the past, before, I think it was when he joined Syntax even, actually, I tried to message him to say congrats type of thing. And then there was another time where I think I had some thoughts on his video, positive thoughts on his video, similar to what I'm doing now. And I just wanted to let him know type of thing. But I've never heard back from him. So I don't know of the best way to connect with him, but yeah, I would totally have CJ on stream. Release says, you also don't worry that it messes up the keys. AI has done that for me, just made keys up. Yes. Again, they're talking about formatting JSON. Watch CJ stream. He covers all this. AO says, yes, the direction we are currently heading toward isn't really civilization positive. Right, with AI. Right. I have hope. At least right now, AO, I have some hope that we can move in a positive direction with this technology, but I definitely see and feel it's highly probable to move where we will go in a negative direction because of the incentives right now. I think the way, at least in the US, the culture here, the people are incentivized to maximize income, maximize capital, maximize shareholder value. You know, like that's the incentive that drives the culture in the US, in my opinion. And I feel very strongly about that. And I think I've talked about this on stream before. It's like, at what point is enough enough? At what point can you just be content? Look at this. I've been yapping so long. Your code space will be stopped soon due to inactivity. This is also what saves me money, where I get to stay in the free tiers, because I have code spaces set up to shut down after a certain period of inactivity in case I ever forget to. I'm just going to tell it to stop now since we're still yapping. So I've talked about this before at length on the stream, and I think one of the problems we have culturally is like not what's the word I'm looking for? Not celebrating, just feeling grateful and content with what you have already. There's this motivation and culture, I think, to always wanting more. And at the core of that, that leads to these bigger things that we have now, like this huge discrepancy in wealth between the wealthiest people in the country, in the world, and the people, you know, the poor and everything in between, right? Like there's a huge gap now that has expanded over the years. That and I think that gap is driven by the culture. Again, I'm just talking from personal opinion here. I don't have like definitive evidence or data to say that. It's more of like, this is what I feel, the vibe, if you will, of what has led to the current, one of the biggest factors that has led, or if not the factor that has led to this situation of things in today's day and age. So I really feel that that culture, again, I'm strictly speaking from the US perspective. I understand it's not necessarily the perspective of everywhere around the world, but I feel like that radiates outward to other countries too, to some degree, and influences other countries. And I do feel that is prevalent elsewhere as well and can be applied. So with that in mind, I forgot how I got on this. Oh, with that, bringing it back to AI. With that in mind, because of those incentives and the culture around things when it comes to technology, I don't feel like the thing that like takes away that hope that I have that it's going to move in a positive direction is that with those incentives and motivations and culture around it, if the focus is only on how do we make more money with this technology, how do we, you know, under the guise of like we want to make the world a better place type of thing, really the ulterior motive is, why is my wife calling me? Hold on. All right, BRB, pause, hold that thought.
As your steps descend, feeling disentranced, coming to the end. As your steps descend.
Welcome in and thanks for joining today Nike Zero Dare.
I'm back, chat. Oh man, poor kid, man. She was thrown up. Just cleaned up some nice throw up, chat. I know you wanted to know that. Thanks, Rugmat. She's in good spirits, but she's fighting this virus, man. Flu B. Apparently, flu A is worse, but they said she had flu B. In any case, with that in mind, I think I'm gonna go till like 4 o'clock, so about 38 more minutes or so. We'll keep yapping and call it a day for now. I forget where I left off with our conversation, but yeah, a lot going on in chat. Double check work too. Okay, good. We were talking about AI. Thanks for Lacey for welcoming me back. Talking about the direction we're heading in. Dolphin says, I have a message saying cannot find program Windows apps. I don't understand why I got this message. Has someone tried to hack my PC? Dolphin, I would say probably not. Yes, what Kirk replied with, no one's hacking your computer unless you installed some dodgy software on it, probably. This message came whilst I was asleep. Yeah, it was probably something running on your PC. I don't know if you're still asking about that or remember, Dolphin, but and especially that's 365 copilot.exe, it's probably a Windows update thing that they did, because they're pushing out a new Windows update to everybody over the past week or so, and it has that Copilot stuff in it that personally I'm not a fan of, but that's what that sounds like. So I wouldn't be alarmed by it, but definitely understandable why you're like concerned and confused. But don't jump to the conclusion that you're being hacked. I don't think that's the case. I wouldn't think that's the case if it was my machine either. Dylan says, marketing, instead of paying a videographer to get a library of man smiling at woman with product, get a huge library of diverse people, which is a big hurdle, especially for companies who don't have diverse clientele that need to show diversity. Yeah, I mean, that could potentially be a use case too. But there's like the other con of that, like, so yeah, talking about like maybe the positive use case for Sora 2 or video generation, stuff like that. I was saying B-roll, right? But even with that though, it's kind of a negative because it takes away from, to some degree, it takes away from the artists in that industry that produce that type of content for companies and make a living that way. It's not to say that, you know, I mean, industries change, and you know, this is definitely, a lot of industries are definitely going to be impacted by this AI, you know, like era that we're in, just like the industrial revolution and stuff like that had impact on different industries. I think this is going to be some type of AI revolution, if you will, that's going to have long-term impacts on things, on people that work within these industries that are impacted by it and so forth. So that's the other con I see. And so tying that back into the video stuff, right? Like, you know, maybe it's more worthwhile to like talk to an artist or a videographer or something like that that does that, produces that content, or pay for licensing on content that does fulfill those needs. That's the typical way people would go about doing it. And yeah. AO says video generation is great for stock footage and video creation and or missing B-roll at times. Right. But there is right. So that's a positive, but there is kind of a negative to that we just talked about, right? Ayush says, just look at deep fake videos a few years back. Right. Like, this is just making that worse. It's exacerbating that potential problem and issue. Really says, I personally use it to make new content when some YouTubers get tired of making videos and I still like their style, if that counts for anything. You're making content about, like, on behalf of that YouTuber, so that you have some more to watch from them, even though they didn't create it. Like, I don't know if I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but I don't know if I would do that or agree with doing that, right? Like, Dylan says, I do filmmaking on the side, so I don't necessarily condone or suggest that people use AI for video materials instead of actually paying me. But as a digital marketing, sometimes you don't have the time or budget to get that kind of content for a $500 per month social media display. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. There's a balance to it, I think. I'm still catching up on messages here. Hold on, chat. In this Yap stream. AI is literally just a super complex version of how your phone's keyboard predicts what the next word you might type next is. Right. Yep. Damn, Clarky, we should do a podcast and just explore all of these tangents. Sounds good. Let's do it. Really says, it has been proven that they scrape Google too. That is why Google changed pagination lately. Something happened with, like, Reddit is suing them as well, right? Suing them being like the major, well, I think OpenAI and maybe, or Perplexity that makes that AI browser, which, by the way, don't use an AI browser, folks. Do not use an AI browser. I just feel like that's asking for trouble. Perplexity makes an AI browser. But yeah, I think Perplexity is getting sued by Reddit. Dylan says, yeah, it's just like what your phone's keyboard is doing. Steel Toad says it's basically playing words on stream with the query. All right, I'm starting to catch up to this. Really behind here. AO says, but yes, autocomplete is the best representation for people that don't understand much. Right. Dylan says, Dylan did define explain LLMs like I'm 5. Explain LLMs like I'm 5 means to describe large language models in a very simple way as if talking to a young child. So that kind of backfired on you, Dylan, huh? Really says, also, why do you have Twitch and Clarkio presuming Twitch is specific to your Twitch? Why not have it like credits? I know what you're talking about. That's a fair... Yeah, I don't know. No particular reason, really. See, just didn't think to do it that way. But I like that you made that suggestion. I think that's way better than what I have. Dylan says it's for the icon. Yes, it is for the icon, but I mean, potentially I could bundle that into a credits component that has my name in it to simplify that. I mean, in that way, like to be devil's advocate here, not devil's advocate, but to give the contrary kind of approach to it. It really isn't much for me to just type Clarkio and the Twitch component. You know, am I really saving that much? Maybe. Maybe not. Department says, AI changed the dates, editing that number of dates by me gets to the point where I get typos and missed items. Okay, so Department, I definitely recommend you check out CJ's video, because in that situation, if you're using AI to do that because you're worried about mistakes you're going to make, you have tools available to you. I think you're a C# developer, right? If I recall correctly. Use Visual Studio. Visual Studio has the F2 keyboard shortcut to rename a variable or text. Or if you're using VS Code, I use JT Thom, who pops into the stream every now and then and does the Schmerple voice command or audio command. He taught me, I'll never forget this, the keyboard shortcut Control-Shift-L on Windows or Command-Shift-L on macOS for VS Code. There it is. Thank you, Rugmat. He taught me that keyboard shortcut many years ago, and I use it like so much to this day. And what that does is it selects all the text. If you highlight text and you press that keyboard shortcut, it will go and find and select all of those texts and create a multi-cursor state so that when you type, it will replace all those instances that way. So again, CJ's video goes in more in depth and like elaborates on this, but don't waste your money on AI to do something like that for you. I think the moral of the story with this stuff, at least with coding and from like CJ's point of view or CJ's message from the video that I'm gathering, that I'm also agreeing with and amplifying, is try your best not to have it like when you run into something that you need to do. Don't always have your knee-jerk reaction to lean on AI to do it for you. There may be a quicker, more convenient, less costly approach that you can use instead of AI. I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's just a matter of like, we're in this certain limbo state right now with AI, that there are people that are either like in the camp of just being hesitant and haven't really dove deep into AI just yet. And so they're just kind of, resisting really going gung-ho in it. Then you have people that are super gung-ho in it and they just lean on it for everything. And then you have, a little bit of people in between. But I think generally speaking, though, anybody that's using AI starts to grow this muscle of like leaning on that for everything. And I'm just saying, resist that urge. Like, sure, use it, find it to be helpful when you need, but resist the urge. And even if you do have the urge and you do,
to start in 2 minutes on Twitch.
If you do have the urge and you do, immediately go and use the AI, be a bit always be skeptical of the answers and responses you're getting from it. Okay? Have that, don't assume it is right all the time and correct. Approach it with skepticism at least, right? So if you're struggling to like resist the habit of immediately jumping to using AI for anything, one, try your best to work on that. But in the meantime, regardless of that, you have to have a mindset of skepticism with AI. because otherwise you're going to get burned. You're going to get burned by it. We right now in coding or in any other industry that might be using AI currently have this, again, the people that have gotten into the habit of using it and find it super helpful and positive for them, it lulls you to sleep in the sense of trusting it and assuming that it's always right and giving you the best answers.
Start in 1 minute on Twitch.
And that's not good. That is really not good. And I wanted to make sure people wake up about that. And, it's something myself constantly trying to think about and be skeptical of it, because you can, I tend to use it for like quick searches on things. I'm trying to think of a recent example. I don't have a recent example that's coming off the top of my head, but even when I get those responses for something, instead of Google searching something like where I'm going to have to look through the links and the answers and stuff, I tend to lean on going to some AI tool on my phone, typing in what I want, letting it go get the information and cite the sources. And then if it's seems outlandish, or even if it seems correct, a lot of times I will click the links to see where it's getting those sources from and read from there, or that I know, or well, I don't know, where at least there's a higher probability that it was a human being that did that thing and gave that answer. So that's my advice.
180 seconds.
All right, still reading messages while we're in this ad. Danish says, when motive is profit, companies will do whatever it takes, even if it means being bad for humanity. That's kind of where I was going with it. And I that's what I think is being incentivized these days. Department says, it took a little work setting it to do the work, but it was faster for the AI to change the dates than for me to do all the editing and fixing. I think, I hear you, Department. I'm glad that was successful. I'm glad that was a positive experience. But there's still potential for it to get that wrong, and I would honestly double check it. And again, I know I sound like I'm a broken record. I'm beating a dead horse here. Check out CJ's video. Theo says, yeah, I agree. The capitalistic views are not helping civilization, but rather helping 5 people's wallets. I somewhat agree with you, Ao, and I somewhat disagree. Because, again, having a very balanced and pragmatic point of view, I think there are positives from having a capitalistic approach in a competitive marketplace in different industries. I think there's positives with that. But without proper restrictions and regulations, I think it leads to what we're in right now. I don't know. Let's put it this way, Ao. Maybe you can educate me on this. I don't know of a better economic system than capitalism. And if you do, and you can, I'm being very honest and transparent here. I'm not saying this facetiously or with challenging you or anything like that. I'm saying it out of genuine curiosity and questioning. I don't know of a better economic system than capitalism. That seems to be the best we have, at least right now, that I'm at least personally aware of. And I don't know of a better one. And without having or knowing a better one, I really think that we have to fix the problems with this one to make it better, so that it adjusts things in a more positive direction for the greater of humanity, and not just, like you said, 5 people's wallets, right? So that's kind of my thought process on capitalism. Yes, I definitely feel strongly that there are significant negatives within that type of system, but I don't say that without acknowledging that there are positives to it too, that have led to where we are today, right? Where these advancements in technology and whatnot. Dylan, in purely capitalistic market, there is no reason to make a product that lasts or actually solves a problem, right? Which is kind of where we're at, right? Dylan says, solve a problem and you eventually go out of business. Same for hospitals and cures versus treatments. Yeah, we're getting into the thick of this now, huh? Catching up on chat. What's your ruling on something like RugMat bot or the bots wrong? Fucking no. Dylan there. Dylan says, I'm a fan of them as long as they don't create an unfair advantage. Yep. Releases says, I wonder if stream streak happens on both chats if two streams always use shared chat. That is a good question. I don't know. I wonder. Lovely. So I could enable it here if I were to join here and there. Oh, absolutely. Give me a heads up though, because I would probably turn off one of my buttons. Yep, you two are just talking about that with spooky tunes. My eyes are getting... Still catching up on chat. Chat, I think at this point we all can agree this is just a yap stream for today, this week. Predominantly yap. Can you have it run on... Night Coder, hey, good to see you. I just saw Tame Impala in Brooklyn on Tuesday, and Dracula was amazing. Oh, nice. Talking about music. We're sticking to both. Night Coder, good to see you, by the way. I don't know if you had a message earlier that I might have missed. I'm sorry about that if that's the case. But regardless, happy to have you here. Good to see you, and hope you're doing well. Dolphin says, took so long to get the first word. Oh, looks like the tool broke a bit on that last board. What happened on the last board? I missed it, Dylan. You don't mind giving me the details on that. Welcome back from Rugmat. Welcome back from Lisi. Alvin says, okay, thanks for explaining, Cargo. Yep. Yeah, today, for folks that maybe didn't catch this earlier on in my stream, my oldest kiddo is homesick with flu B. We went to the doctor this morning. And me and Mrs. Clarkey are here, just taking care of her and that type of thing. And so that, you know, there's going to be interruptions like that throughout the stream today. I'd planned on having an abbreviated stream today anyway, but it's turned into a yap stream. Really says, one point I made, if that means anything to you, is that using... Dylan, I don't know if you caught what I said in response to one of your messages from way earlier that maybe happened when I was away. We were talking about capitalistic society and stuff like that. Or no, it was directed at AO, so never mind. It's not you. I just know you were chiming in on it, so never mind. Really says, one point I made, if that means anything to you, is that using the video generation you said you didn't have much of a use. I personally been making videos from YouTubers that kind of stopped uploading, but I really... Oh, they stopped uploading. Okay. You make your own content for yourself. Okay, that's interesting, Releasy. That was super interesting. I honestly don't know. You know, that's the first I'm hearing of people doing that. I guess I'd be curious, like, more about what are you having them do? Like, if they're like, I don't know, let's say a technology YouTuber that hasn't posted about technology, do you ask the video generation to make a video of so-and-so YouTuber about this new technology that just came out? And like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. If you don't mind sharing, if you don't want to, don't feel comfortable sharing, that's fine too. Don't feel any pressure to do that. Marcus says, why can't the artist just develop a brand that the AI pays for? I don't know. I certainly didn't say they can't do that. I just don't know that. I guess let's put it this way. What incentivizes the AI company to pay the artist to do that when they can just steal it and deal with the repercussions, right? Dolphin says, I hope your daughter feels better real fast, Clarkio. Vitamin C is my first go-to for any illness. Helps them. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dolphin. Appreciate that message. She's doing all right. She's just been... Today, she's in the thick of it right now. It's like within 48 hours of having the flu. So the flu always starts off really strong and then slowly fades out. So going through it. She's doing all right. She's being a real trooper. Dylan says, I grew up with teachers telling me I'm not going to always have a calculator in my pocket in math class. FF to today, I always have a calculator in my pocket. Fast forward to today. Yep. I think though, so with that, just kind of racking my brain around that because I remember that too, Dylan. And I have mixed feelings on this, to be honest with you all. Like, when you have a tool that can help you do it, why do you... I don't know what... I really don't know how to feel about that, right? Like, so, like, you don't want to have to... If you ever end up in a situation where you cannot have... You lose access for whatever reason to, in this case, a calculator, and then you're stuck. You know what I mean? And what do? How do you get past that? Like, it's a very contrived example or simplified example because it's just a calculator doing, you know, some type of math equations or calculations, right? But like, how do you get past that then, right? And so I think the worry for people that are very much in the camp of AI is only negative is that, let's apply it to programming. If a new developer always relies on AI, it takes away... Actually, let's go to a more practical example. Kids learning in school, taking tests. If they always lean on other kids to help them get the answers for their tests, that's depriving them of growing and learning and becoming better themselves, right? Comes to programming. If a developer only, and again, keyword here being only ever relies on and doesn't take the time to fully understand and grasp a topic or approach or a programming technique or architecture or theory, if they don't do that themselves and they only ever rely on AI, they're really hurting themselves, right? Like they're preventing themselves from growing and getting better and becoming masterful at that craft. And I do think that's a negative. But at the same time, I don't think people should not use it at all. Because it's here. Like a calculator is here. You need to know how to use that tool. I'm kind of like, I flip-flop on it. I don't really have a concrete, strong one direction or the other that I lean on, either pro or against in that regard, you know? I don't know. What do you all think? Thanks. That was very thought-provoking, Dylan, bringing up that example with the calculator from teachers in school days. Dylan says, it's just another new disruptive tool. Newspaper typists probably had a crisis of conscience when the word processor came out with the autocorrect and tools like that. Now it's just a fact of life and part of the job. Right. I do feel like that's going to be the case with AI. Now, with the one caveat, if we reach true artificial general intelligence, AGI, I think that really spins everything upside down. I don't know where that would put us. Let me switch to talk mode. You know? I don't know where that would put us. And, you know, the other thing that I feel like is going to have a huge impact on all this that I don't feel like makes as much headlines is quantum computing. That to me is like when that nut gets cracked, when that gets really honed in and becomes more widespread. Because for folks that maybe aren't familiar, quantum computing is like, it's a computer chip that can, I don't know how to best describe it, but basically like our computer chips right now work in ones and zeros. It's very bi-directionally, like two states almost, if you will, type of thing. With quantum computing, it can go in all, or actually the best way to put it is like, think about like an XY axis, right? And you can only graph in like 2D on the chart. With quantum, and that's our CPUs like today. Quantum computing, you can do graphs both in any freaking direction. 3D, full 360 degrees type of thing. That's the best way to kind of put it, right? So think about having that processing power and applying that to advancing AI, LLMs, AI. That to me is like, once that happens, it's gonna freaking take off. D-chess, says May. So I think that is the thing. I don't feel like I don't see a lot of discussion around that. The problem, so I think part of the reason why that is because it's still so early on and it's so costly, and only a select few companies have the means to be able to work with that stuff right now, and and build out that technology. One of the things that I at least have read about with it is it's so hard to keep a quantum CPU or quantum computer cooled. It takes so much energy and effort, and it's costly. And that's one of the reasons why it's not widespread right now. It's very isolated and limited in access because of that. Like, you have to have a lot of resources available to you to even operate. So crazy. Ridley says it's also still not fully plausible. They haven't closed all the holes just yet. I gotta learn more about that. I didn't know that. I thought it was just the cooling aspect of it that's really limiting them. Dylan says artists and photographers rebelled against Photoshop when it first came out, but now it's another tool in their belt. Yeah, I don't know. Don't you feel though, Dylan, that this is kind of different? I don't know. It might be. I might be wrong. It feels different. It feels different. Marcus says yes. I'm in agent mode, and my prompt says look, lock it up before you do it. Keep saying Google refused. Oh, yeah. So you're looking things up through your agent mode prompt. Dylan says, got to step away for work. May or may not be back before end of stream. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's what that was about before. Smell you later, Dylan says Trin. Smell you later, kid. Marcus says, the problem for me is remembering what tools are there, so I always ask AI what tools are available. That's fair. Marcus also says, yeah, I have a nice voice commander that selects a set number of instances with multi-cursors. Yeah, there you go. You're talking about the find and replace and like updating dates and stuff like that? Yeah. Marcus says, it's a bit like using a calculator to work out what is 1 + 1. Right. Yeah, why do you like, I think there's certain, whereas if you're using like what the fudge, what is it called? You know, the TI like 89 level where you're doing differential equation or you're doing like calculus on it and stuff like that. Like having a calculator like that is super helpful for those situations versus 1 + 1. But it's really like, you got to figure out like what is the threshold though? Like at what point is it like, all right, you really shouldn't be leaning on a calculator for this. You start with the most complex problems, math problems that you're using a calculator for, that's not really common or happening so often as 1 + 1, right? But at one point when you scale down from that, where's the threshold where it's like, this is not really acceptable to be using a calculator for this anymore. You really should know how to do this. And won't that be different for everybody? Like a mathematician, they may never use a calculator. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. So their threshold of like when to use a calculator is never, almost, or very little, compared to somebody that doesn't study math all the time. So I don't know what the right answer is. It's gonna be different for everybody. Ayush says, you mean don't make AI your first option? Yeah, that was from earlier. I'm catching up. Still catching up on chat here. Rose says, my bad, didn't hear you. Read that. I thought you hadn't already. Okay. Just Marcus, just because it's got it right once doesn't mean it's going to get it right the next time, since it's not non-deterministic. True. That's a good point as well. Deep Harvin says, one, I am not paying for AI. I guess someone is. Oh, like at your company maybe, Deep Harvin, or are you using like a free version of AI? Deep Harvin goes on to say, and I guess writing something that will read the XML document, find the dates, and add years to them is something I could have done, but that would have taken longer than what I did. I always look at what is given to make sure it is what I want. Okay, yeah. Listen, I'm not knocking you for using it in that situation necessarily. I'm saying it's very similar though to the situation that CJ was bringing to light. He shed light on a situation where people were just trying to do find and replace of like variable names in a programming language, and people were using AI to do that. And he's like, folks, there's rename capabilities in the tool that you probably use for writing that code. Just do that. So that's why I'm bringing that up to you, Deep Harvin. It's not exactly the same thing based on what you've been describing to me, but it's similar. Marcus says, if a business has a choice of taking someone with high productivity and use of AI and someone who won't use it, the business decision is pretty obvious. Right. In today's day and age, yes. AO says, when it comes to code, I have no skills for syntax yet, so I go for AI coding 95% of the time. I only touch the design by hand now, and I'm learning little by little. Okay. All right, let me back up and make sure. I want to make sure I'm being clear. I don't think that you all are getting this from me, but I want to make sure that you all are not taking my messaging this way. If you lean on AI to do a lot for you, like, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. All I'm saying is be cautious with that habit that you're building in leaning on that so much and it becoming a crux for you, so that it, to the point where it takes away from your benefit and you growing and becoming better at whatever it is that you're doing. That's all I'm saying, is be cautious with that, because it seems to me like it can lead in a negative direction when that is the situation. Okay, I'm just making that's my message with it. It is, I hope it's clear too. I'm not saying don't use AI. I'm not saying don't lean on it. I'm saying be cautious with it and don't always just blindly trust it. What I found personally is the more I use it, the more I just grow into this tendency of wanting to trust it, and I have to resist that urge and like pull myself back and be like, no, well, let's double check this, you know, like, okay. That's all I'm saying. And this is just strictly from like personal, not strictly, but majority from personal experience, especially with coding. Be careful with it. That's all. And then we're having this, you know, a little bit more of like a higher level discussion around tools like this in general, comparing it to calculators, right? I feel like there's like I think it applies here too. Like there's gonna be, and for everyone it's gonna be different, what the threshold is of like, what seems kind of silly to be using this tool, this technology for, versus when it makes more sense for a broader group of people, right? AO says, yes, there are positives for sure. For a better system, look at Star Trek. That is my end goal. Don't hate me, but I don't know a lot about Star Trek other than like Picard and some of the memes around it. I'm sorry. It is not a personal attack. It is not a Star Trek sucks type of position. It's just I just never watched it or got around to it. And to be fair, the same thing with Star Wars. Okay, so don't hate me, don't beat me up. Don't mean anything by it. It's just how things played out for me in my life growing up. Catching up on chat. This yap session, we got a few more minutes here. Scrolling down. Dylan says, okay, I'm back for like 15 minutes maybe. Okay. Trying to catch up. Dolphin says, I hope your daughter feels better real fast. Okay, vitamin C. Yep, we read that from earlier. Jumped ahead a little bit. Thank you again for that, Dolphin. Dylan says, we have a product called Emergency that I swear by. It's a flavored powder that goes great if you add it to OJ. Yes, I do like Emergency, or Airborne is something I tend to use a lot of. In fact, me and Mrs. Clarkio are I was gonna say hopping up because I'm thinking of Talladega Nights. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew, Chip. The kid in Talladega Nights, if you remember. Anybody get that reference? We're getting all hopped up on Airborne. It's basically a vitamin bomb. Yeah, it's good. I don't know if it truly works or not, but it seems to. Every time we take it, really helps fortify us when we're around the kids and we end up not getting sick. So I don't want to jinx it, but it helps us. Really says, I have an example. I asked the AI to go through the coding trains videos in a specific range because with transcripts I generated the range I liked because the new videos I dislike a little. Okay. And asked it to generate a few topics and explain the video well. Then fixed it up a little and sent it to the video. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you for sharing that example. That is interesting. That is an interesting use case of video generation. That's the first I've heard of anybody doing that type of thing too. So that's really unique, really. See, and it's intriguing. This way I got new videos that technically Coding Train would have done, but didn't. Okay. Oh, that's very eye-opening. I'm trying to think. There are times where I feel like, because I think I told you all my behavior with like tailoring this specifically to YouTube, the way I consume YouTube's one of the platforms I do consume. Like I was mentioning earlier, most social media platforms I don't consume, and I try to just post, and I avoid getting on it and just falling into consuming content on there. YouTube's one of the ones where it's a little bit of both, and so one of the ways I combat that, though, to like limit how much I'm consuming, is I only ever have open my subscription tab. So I'm only seeing videos from the channels I choose to subscribe. I never fall into the discovering new channels, which is kind of a downside, right? Because there's probably channels that I'm missing out on that I would like and benefit from. But at the same time, it keeps me.
Thanks for joining today, Fusheros.
It keeps me from falling into the endless cycle of social platforms and their algorithms of trying to keep you on there for so long. So that's kind of my way of balancing it out a little bit, and that's what I really like about it. And I wish more. I mean, like Twitter used to be like that, where you only saw posts from the people you followed, and once you caught up on like everything and you don't see any new posts from people, well, you're kind of done for that time frame until you pop open the app again another time, right? But all of them have moved away from that because they're incentivized, going back to what we were talking about before, they're incentivized to want to keep you on the platform. So if they have an endless amount of content for you to consume, that is beneficial to them for financial reasons, right? The longer you're on the platform, the longer they can potentially push ads to you and make more money and endless. I think TikTok is a huge example of this. I think the dopamine hits, the endless scrolling. Oh, this video is cool. Oh my gosh, well that was interesting. What, that person just did a backflip. Oh my, off the top of a, like crazy, right? That's how it's intended. And so you don't really have a lot of control over that when you are on where YouTube, thankfully, I still have that control. I just go straight. So the two ways that makes that possible for anybody else interested in doing this is, one, turning off search history so that like when I go to my home tab, it doesn't show me, even if I go to the home tab on youtube.com while I'm logged in, it doesn't show me anything because it doesn't know anything about me, because there's no search history or view history that's being tracked. Thankfully, thank you YouTube and Google for having that capability, because that keeps my sanity. So that's number one. And then number two, even if I go to just youtube.com, I quickly click on the subscription tab that brings me to that. And then I see all the latest videos from the channels I subscribe to. And then I find, not all of them have videos that are of interest to me to watch, even though it's presented to me. So I bring that up in response to Roy Lisi's comment about a creator on YouTube that stopped making videos or even making videos in the style that they used to make. They're making them in a new style that you don't really care for. Or at least he's using video generation to make content by that creator is really interesting to me. And the reason I bring that up is because there's times where I'm like, I just want to watch something while maybe I'm having breakfast or having lunch or whatever. And I don't see a video I like, and I spend more time trying to find a video than just eating my lunch and being done with my lunch type of thing, as an example. So that'd be cool if I had like a backlog of videos that I could be like, oh, but again, I don't know, like morally, ethically, is that okay? I don't know. I think that's up for debate. Like, would that creator want? It's not like Roy Lisi, you're publishing these videos on their behalf or anything like that. You're just using it for your own benefit. But also, does that creator care or not care that you're using their likeness to create that content? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Interesting. Very thought-provoking. Dylan says, that's why it's important to understand how the calculator works. Damn it, I'm agreeing with my teachers now. There you go, Dylan. May say, like trying to do math without a calculator. Yep. Marcus says, since agent mode, I've branched out into different languages and slowly learning more than I did before. That's good to hear. That's a nice positive. Marcus went on to say, I would put it as the second cleverest life form on the planet. AI? I don't know about category change at this point, May, but thank you for the suggestion. Department says a new developer using it has a hard time verifying that what was given to them by the AI model is valid. True. I've asked the same question several times and gotten different results each time. Right. That's the whole non-deterministic point as well. Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. I'm sorry, chat. Marcus says, yes, but in 6 billion years, when the sun blows up, everything will be irrelevant. You have a point, sir. Releases is also still not fully plausible. They haven't closed all the holes just yet. That was to the quantum computing stuff, right? To be a consumer product, it must pass random crashes on random scenarios that still may happen when it's not in a controlled scenario, right? Yep. Dylan says it's kind of different. I'm also neutral on AI and I'm just along for the ride to see how it unfolds. I have no control over what happens with it, so I can only figure out how I should adapt to it. Right. I'm with you on that. People will say AI isn't going to take your job. People who know how to use AI tools, any new tech really, are going to take your job. You know, for a long time, I felt very strongly about that saying. AI isn't going to take your job, but people who know how to use AI tools are going to take your job. And I don't know if I fully agree with it anymore. I'm skeptical of that now too. I was in the camp of like, yes, that's very true. And I don't know. I think I think that saying to me is becoming more naive, because I think there are certainly going to be jobs where AI will take it completely, and it's not going to be people. What kind of job do I think that would be? I don't know for certain. That's why I'm like kind of leaning towards skeptical of that saying now, or that comment that people make about AI in response to AI. I still agree with it, but I think I'm not as strongly agreeing with it anymore, is what I'm getting at. So I just don't know. I don't know I'm just not sure. I'm unsure is where I'm at right now. Marcus says, having said that, Mark Miller spent 20 minutes using AI to build calculator on his stream yesterday. Yeah. Why? Just as an experiment, Marcus, or what was the motivation behind that, if you don't mind sharing? Or at least there's mathematicians using calculator all the time. LOL. Do they? Do they use calculators all the time? I don't know. What do I know? Marcus says, I've seen people still using their fingers when calculating stuff when they have to use cash in the shops. May says, Clarkio said, what was that in response to? I don't remember. I'm like, it is 4:06 now. I'm reading messages from 3:54. I'm 12 minutes behind. And I didn't have to do that math on my fingers. Dylan says, although, that's Dylan's automated message, dang it. Ayo says, I think we all agree on that. You're just delayed in reading chat. Okay, all right. I am very delayed in reading chat, Ayo. Marcus, it's like on GitHub, anything written by Copilot cannot be reviewed by Copilot. There should always be a human in the loop. Yes. This is what I'm getting at, though, too. They're starting to, they being the people working on these AI tools and AI themselves. Again, I use AI loosely, LLM and the tools around them. And they're getting to the point where they're creating agents to create code, but then there's agents that review the code created. But like, is that necessarily good and enough? Can you trust the technology, the large language model behind? Imagine this way, like it almost feels like, in the sense of, I don't know, and I'm not sure what the answer is here, but it feels odd to me that we're heading in this direction where companies are building agents to check the other agents. But it's almost like, all right, think about it this way. If you have, let's tailor it to coding generation and just coding in general. If you have a junior developer that you give it a task to write some function in code or feature, and you don't have somebody with more experience and more knowledge check the output from that junior developer, and instead you have the junior developer, another junior developer maybe, but still, like, I mean, in this case, it's the same LLM, it's the same model, right? Like checking the output. So really the scenario is it's the same junior developer checking their and verifying their own code. Do we really think that's like good? I don't know. I don't think so. I lean more no. But that's what we're seeing. Oh shoot, sorry. What was I talking about? Ms. Clark, it was just giving me an update on the sicko kiddo. Yeah, I don't know. Like, here's me signing off. Have a great weekend. All right, have a good one, Marcus. Appreciate the conversation. Appreciate you being here, watching and chatting with me and engaging in everything. And hope you have a good rest of your Friday and weekend. Thanks for sharing your experience too. But yeah, like I don't know about agents checking themselves. It's essentially checking themselves, even though it's a separate entity. And then like if you have the other thing to think about, we talk about how it's non-deterministic. All right, you have the one agent generate the code one time for whatever task it is. You give another agent that's also generating code. It could give a very different result for one, or it could give the same result. You know, there's chances of that, but the like probability, it's never 100% certain right now that you're going to get the same output given the same prompt or same input from an AI agent writing code. All right, so there's that one aspect of it, right? But then the agent that's checking the code, if you have one, and again, it's the same model, I'm assuming, right? Maybe that's a big assumption, but even if it's a different model, I think this still applies. You have that other agent with the same model checking the output of the code from the other agent using that same model. If it comes up with one result one time saying, oh, this code is okay, or this code is, let's say it says this code is not okay, and it has these issues in it. You have another instance of that same agent check the output of that code as well. It likely will have different results. Frank says, does Miss Clarkio really exist? I never met her, just saying. I mean, you're just going to have to believe me. I wear a ring just for show. You're just going to have to believe me, Frank. Although, well, of course, you know, you'd more likely have a chance of meeting her in person since we have met in person and I worked with you. There you go. Some of our colleagues, Frank, have met Mrs. Clarkio and can verify her existence. So you can check with them. How about that, Frank? There you go. There's the way you get that answer. And doesn't show up when she goes around his chair. I wouldn't say the green screen is that good. Well, that's the thing. She knows where the camera points and she knows to stay off camera. Unless she wants to go on camera. That's up to her. It's her own decision. The kids are not allowed to though. And they know. Although they forget all the time. They come in guns blazing, just ready to come talk to me, give me a hug or whatever after they come home from school on Fridays. And they're like, oh, no. You know, they come in and I'm like, wait, no, stay there. You know, like that type of thing. So they are not allowed to be on camera. They are not like understanding of the internet and what that means to have your face on the internet. And until they're old enough to understand that, me and Mrs. Clarkio are keeping them off the web type of thing. All right, catching up on chat, trying to finish up the chat, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Roy Lee says, I don't know if this is better or worse than having actual delay. So here's the thing though, Roy Lee, with that, and that's at 3:55. We're at 4:13. You know how I operate. I don't like skipping over people's messages that were kind enough to be watching the stream, and on top of that, send a message to me hoping to get a response out of me. And so that's why I'm going through everything. But even when I do that, I'm not perfect, and I still miss stuff. Not intentionally. Unintentional things. So if I do miss a message that you did send, wait until I caught up on chat though first. If I do miss a message that you sent, feel free to send it again. You're not going to get, you're not going to get any negative feedback from me about sending a duplicate message. Dylan says he's been yapping and we've been enabling his yapping. True. It's your fault, chat. It's your fault. Make it so number one. Oh my god, not a Star Trek or Star Wars guru. I'm not. I'm sorry, May. AO says Star Wars equals capitalism final boss. Star Trek equals communism final boss. Okay. Right, but then there's pros and cons to communism too, right? Like, I think there's a lot of cons. I mean, again, I'm not an expert in this stuff, so I don't want to get in the weeds of this. But like, to me, communism is bad. Really says I haven't seen either, to be honest, but people actively fighting like that really deterred me away. Oh, when they get, yeah, there's people that get very dogmatic about Star Wars or Star Trek. Slugger, shake and bake. You did get the reference. Okay, thank you. Somebody got the reference, or at least acknowledged it. Thank you, Slugger. I'm all hopped up Mountain Dew, Chip. Gonna come at you at like oh, Dylan got it too. Gonna come at you at like a spider monkey. Nice. That's a good movie. You know what's funny? I was talking with Danish the other day on a call, and he had not seen that movie, but I had made a reference. I didn't know he didn't see that movie, and I had made a reference to it where I was. The scenario I was talking about was I was in a situation where I felt like I didn't know what to do, or he was describing a situation where he didn't know what to do with his hands, and it made me think of that part of the movie where Will Ferrell's like, I don't know what he's getting interviewed by the TV reporter, the NASCAR kind of reporter. He goes, I don't know what to do with my hands. And he just holds them up like this. And I was like, oh man, Danish, you didn't see that movie. You didn't get the reference. It wasn't as funny. All right, I'm getting there. The scroll bar is getting smaller. Or rather, it's getting bigger, meaning I have less to scroll. Frank says, I think it's okay. I watch from the sub tab most of the time, but I use the new or search to find new videos or channel. Okay, yeah. Yeah, if it works for you, I mean, whatever works for you. I was just sharing with everybody like my pattern of using YouTube. I'd say it's okay as long as I'm not publishing them. Yeah, it's just on my PC looking at it myself, and I'd say it's good enough since I've seen everything I've used to generate. I don't just grab new videos, but I guess I can see the logic where it could be weird. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Marcus says it was a demo for his new tools. I don't remember what that was in reference to. Sorry. AO says, all right, I'm going to go sleep. You'll see this in 16 days. Have fun there. Thanks, Ayo. Thank you again for the raid. Appreciate you hanging around even after the raid, after streaming. Big props to you because I know you probably wiped from streaming, dude. So thank you for that. It's really kind of you. And hope you have a good rest of your Friday and weekend if you see this and you're not asleep already. Really says, I mean, yeah, mathematicians use it all the time, but it's not to be compared to AI. A calculator is deterministic and always has the same answer provided you give the same question, even if you gave it 3 weeks later. True. That's a very good point. All's good. All's going to smack you with lies if you disagree with it. Who's gonna be? Yeah. Gonna smack me with lies? Oh, AI. Dylan says, okay, I'm actually stepping away now. Great stream, Clarkio. Enjoyed the rants and tangents and really good conversation around some very topical subjects. Okay, I'm glad to hear that, Dylan. Appreciate you, buddy. Have a good rest of your Friday and weekend. And thanks for always helping out with giving feedback on the stream tool. Marcus signing off. Getting there. I thought I was closer than I was. It just feels like this scroll bar keeps going back. Does Miss Clarkio exist? And doesn't show up. That's a good rule. I love that. Yes, really see. It's a very important rule with the kiddos. For me, at least. being very in tune with online. Frank says, just messing with you. You know that. Yeah, I know that. But I'll be happy and honored to meet her. Yeah, of course. Honestly, Frank, I'd love to see you again in person sometime, dude. I miss you. Really, I'm getting kind of worn out. My brain's fried. Lisa says, I was mostly kidding on that one, but yes, I love that you do that. Oh, catching up on the chat message. Yes, I'm glad that you love that, Lisa. May says, good Yap stream on the last day of October. Thanks for the Yap stream. Thank you, May. Appreciate that. I'm glad to hear that kind of stuff because it does. I'm going to be honest with you all. It does sit in the back of my mind where I'm worried that like people typically, I don't know. I assume people come to my streams because they want to see me work on coding and building stuff out. And so it worries me whenever I have a stream like this where it's mostly yapping. But it's encouraging to see that you're all finding it good still. You should make a way to ignore at least most WoS guesses for chat so you can just see messages. Yeah, well, I mean, while it does make it more challenging, it's not too much more challenging for me. I can quickly recognize words on stream messages versus actual message. Basically, if it's more than one word, you know, it's pretty visually easy to acknowledge and find messages that are intended to chat. Slugger says, I'm on fire. Help me, Tom. Help me, Tom Cruise. Yep. Yes, I know you post on YouTube sometimes, but for the chat app that I'm using for that to monitor YouTube, May, oh, I see now, right? So the chat app I use, it blends both Twitch and YouTube comments, so that can actually make it harder. But I have the option to filter to just YouTube messages, and I see your other message from 3:25, so like almost an hour ago. May says, FYI, new scam I learned about yesterday. Scammers sending out Google and Apple calendar invites. I got one. Shows from McAfee. Be aware. Okay, I didn't know about that. Thanks for sharing that, May. And that message just went away right as I read it. How did that happen? May says, in case you missed this in Twitch chat, have you been to a hockey or football game in Nashville? You should try. I talked about how I went to the football game. I wanted to go to a Nashville Predators game, by the way. I forgot to add this, May. But they didn't have a home game that weekend that I went. They were away. So, all right, I caught up on all your messages on Twitch. I'm not kidding. Every time I get lower in the Twitch chat messages, and the scroll bar is not getting any like bigger. It gets down here, and then I scroll, and it reaches a point, and it jumps, like it found new messages for me. Like right now, I have it at the bottom of the screen, and then it just jumped like a quarter of the way up. Really says, I forgot to read some of those messages. It felt like you read it twice. Then I realized I remembered myself reading it. Okay. Deep Harvin says, their debut on the internet should be up to them when they are old enough for informed consent. That's you're preaching to the choir. Exactly, Deep Harvin. Really says, yes. Yeah, easy to avoid WoS messages, but still messes with your scroll, I assume. Yes, it does. Definitely. I think that's why it keeps jumping on me. It's all good, though. I like how you're chatting with me and playing the game at the same time, Releasey. I like that. Maybe scroll bar buffers? Maybe, May. May says, so all chats in one. Yeah, the app, I use StreamerBot, and StreamerBot offers a chat tool that's part of it that combines all the chats, but in that same like pop-up window that it gives me, it has options to filter to just Twitch or just YouTube or both type of thing. So this is also win of the week. I fully learned how Twitch and TV handles video streaming, so now I can actually use their request to alert myself if someone says anything close to my name, the project I've been doing anyway. Ooh, I'd be interested in that. I want to know if people are talking about Clarkio. That's cool, Royce. Thank you for sharing that, and congrats on that. And with that, I'm all caught up. I'm all caught up, chat. It happened. I did it. Finally. We're live. Tor wrote. Any good tips on solving 3 hidden and 2 fake letters from Swimdog Vince over in Dylan's chat? Booyah. I'm caught up. That took a lot. All right, listen. I'm going to get going. I got to go... I gotta go hang out with the sicko kiddo. Take care of her, see if she's doing all right. Because Miss Clark went out to get the other kiddo. Time to add more messages for Clark to read? No, don't you dare do that, Rugmat. Stop it. I use Chatty for my third-party chat, and I have an alert for that. My name or close to anyone names or words. Does it do it in anybody's chat, though? Or, like, is it constantly listening to all Twitch chats, right? That's the win of the week right there. Yeah, Slugger. Did you hear about the campsite that got visited by Bigfoot? It got intense. Did it now? Chances are, if you've seen one shopping center, you've seen a mall. Have a good night, says D. Parvin. Hope she is feeling better soon. See you next stream. Yep, if you set up for different chats. Okay, that's cool to know, May. Thank you for sharing that. All right. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. We're clear. We're going to go right into Dylan's stream so you can play the words that you're already playing in my stream on Dylan's stream. I hope you all have a good rest of your Friday and weekend. Logistics wise, I will be back next Friday, November 7th. It'll be the first stream of November. Holy cow. This year is flying by. So I'll see you next week. I'll be here. November 7th, Friday, November 7th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll continue working on, hopefully, next stream. It won't be a yap stream, unless you want me to yap. And we could do that. But keep in mind then, I'm not going to make as much progress on the WoS Plus 2. Cool. Look for me on the TV on Sunday. Will do, May. Although I have no idea what you look like, May. So, so I'll do my best to guess. Does that look like a May? Does that look like somebody that plays words on stream all the time? I'll look for that. I'm just messing around. Yes, we're going to raid Rugmat. Good night, good people. Good night, Dolphin. Dolphin, make sure you don't stay up too late playing words, okay? Take care of yourself. Get some rest. May is not my first name. All right, fair enough. All right, I'm trying to think what else. If you want to keep in touch with me off stream, the best place to do that is in Discord. Use the command !! It's 7:30 a.m. Okay. Have you just been staying up all night, Dolphin? Holy moly. You're over in the you're in the down under. You're in Aussie land, right? Oh, you get up early. Okay, all right, never mind. Don't listen to me. I thought you were up late. I don't, you know. All right, listen. I'm not good with time zones or geography. Maybe I need a calculator for that. Maybe I need AI for that, or just a map. That could work, right? In any case, I end on that note. Appreciate you all. Join the Discord if you'd like to stay in touch. If you play Wordle, connections, that type of thing. I'm in there on the daily. If you have feedback on the Words on Stream tool, there's a channel for that too. So let me know there. Great place to do it. Thank you all so much for being here today, for your support, whether you followed, whether you watched, whether you lurked, whether you chatted, you rated, you subscribed. Very much appreciate you all. Keeps me going, keeps me encouraged to want to be here and stream each week, week in and week out. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. And I had a great conversation today. Glad you all joined in on that and kept me busy. And I hope you have a good rest of your Friday and weekend. I'll see you next week. Peace out. Stay safe. Happy Halloween.